remember, was it somebody in who was it? And Kyle will have to help me out here. I think it's Mike Vrabel's house when they zoomed in via camera and somebody was on the toilet and I think the bathroom door was open or whatever. But we hit on this a ton last year because, A, it's a big deal and it's important, but B, because it was the only thing going on. I mean, that was that. And we talked to Charles a couple of different times, and each time we had him on, he said, listen, I know that there are a lot of wide receivers out there because if you remember a year ago, it was described as the best wide receiver class of all time in modern-day draft history. And I don't know what the numbers bared out, but certainly the number of wide receivers selected would bear that out. And he said, listen, you need to zero in. You need to target on Michael Pittman Jr. because this guy is going to be legit. This is the guy that you're going to look at. And lo and behold, the Colts end up drafting Michael Pittman Jr. Now, ultimately, a year ago, they made a lot of other stuff happen, too. I mean, a lot of fun stuff. You get up and get Jonathan Taylor, and that is great. That has led a lot of folks to this. A lot of opinions out there regarding tonight's Colts draft is, hey, you better get it right or you're in trouble if you're Chris Ballard. Here's the deal. What I want to see out of this, they need a couple of ready-made players that can help out present situational holes that they have. Now, granted, I don't always buy into the whole best player available stuff, but if there is a game-breaking slide at wide receiver, which I don't think there's going to be. I think we're talking about three top-tier wide receivers, Waddle, Smith, and then Chase. I think those guys are all going to be gone by that time. But just to say, for the sake of the argument here, there is a slide. That's what I would do. That's what I would do. And that's where I kind of break against my theory of filling the two gaps. To me, and I guess it's because we've been told this time and time again, right? To me, it kind of seems like that if you don't get a Darisaw or a Vera Tucker, Sewell's not going to be there either. It seems like you add a bunch of these tackles into the mix, and they feel that maybe you can get that a little bit later on. Fine, but at the same time, you get edge rusher. And edge rusher has been really a sore point for this team. And it's been a struggle for Chris Ballard to both do that and, wide receiver until a year ago. I mean, you couldn't – I've always kind of described it as being, not his forte. It's something he really didn't care about too much. But, until last year, you see the growth of Michael Pittman Jr., and you think he's going to get a lot better coming off his rookie season. Remember, he was injured, and then midway moving forward into the season, he got a lot better. And we'll see where he is coming up in year number 2 for him, but that has not been a strong point for Ballard. Trying to track down forever an edge rushing threat, a consistent edge rushing threat, has not been a strong point either. Now, digging down and, getting guys on that offensive line is a strong point. That has been his strong point. I think everybody's been really happy with Quentin Nelson. That was a no-brainer. I think everybody's been really happy with Braden Smith. That was a lot less of a no-brainer. So to me, I think picking a little bit later on in a tackle, especially if you're unsure, or in this case, let me switch that around for you. If you're sure that you can get somebody comparable later on at tackle as you might be able to get at 21, I am all for that. But what I do want to see out of this, and we've seen the trading back, and that's all fun, and you get other picks, and what do they have, 6? And I think it's the lowest in the Ballard history. You have to come away with guys are going to be able to, as Rick Venturi said on Monday, plug and play and produce. You want that. You want, to me, at least with these first 2, to have that. And I'll be honest with you, if that happens to be at wide receiver, then so be it. These things, and not necessarily with me, but these things that Jim Irsay talked about after the season when he met with everybody in the media here locally, a lot of these things have not been addressed. I mean, he talked about tight end, game-breaking tight end. I think you like the two tight ends you have right now, and I think we all believe that they're going to sit back and wait at some point in time when Zach Ertz becomes available, so they don't have to give up anything for him, and they'll make a run at Zach Ertz, and Zach Ertz will feel comfortable in coming here. He was in Carson Wentz's wedding, and they'll have that reunited feeling and move forward from there. That's not going to be exactly what Jim Irsay is talking about, but you still have these three you're going to put together to try to create one. You had the veteran blocker. You have a guy with big hands and, a great deal of athleticism, but really hasn't shown signs of being a top-tier guy. And then you add that veteran who has had really good seasons in the past. So it's like three to make one. It's kind of like last year, but I think Ertz would be better than Burton was last year. So it's three to make one at that position. And everything else basically has been, well, this is what we had last year, and you're going to run that back. To me, you got to get better at wide receiver. There is still certainly some hope that Paris Campbell finally is going to be healthy and provide that speed aspect. But the first thing he has to do is provide availability, which he has been unable to do so far in his career. Everybody talks about Desmond Pittman. Really, to me, that is comparable with how everybody used to talk about Deion Kane. Everybody talked about Deion Kane being the diamond in the rough, and, hey, this guy's going to get a chance. He got injured, came back, never did anything, and poof, he was gone. So you can't count on that. If there is a game-breaking, count-on dude at 21 in the wide receiving category that you really do like, and that's at the top of your board, do it, man. Do it. And I tell you what, I promise, I won't come on the next day and go, oh, you know what, there was a left tackle there. You should have gone after that. So if there's a game-breaking type of help you out immediately wide receiver, if anybody like that slips. Now, my opinion on Elijah Moore or Rashad Bateman or Terrence Marshall or even Rondale Moore is probably a little bit different. I don't know if any of those 3 or 4 players at wide receiver would be 21 worthy, but certainly if one of the top 3, and in all likelihood they won't, but if one of the top 3 do happen to slip, I think I would be all for those measures taken. So just a couple of the things. I'll give you mine. I'm going to tell you what, this is as difficult as we've talked about because, you'll hear somebody talking about what they need, and then you remember what they always talk about on West 56th is going with the best player available. So if the best player available on their board does not fit their need, then in all likelihood they will trade back. I kind of hope they go with a gut at 21 and roll with it. If an offensive tackle slides there, so be it. If you like an edge rusher there, then so be it. A lot has been made about the edge rushing position, too. And I don't know how you feel about it. Maybe I'm wrong about this because we have put 2 and 2 together. And that means with Carson Wentz being at the best of his ability, having that complete rebirth of a project that was a mess in Philly last year, that the Colts and the Colts fans hope for, you would have to think you would have your offensive line put together to the best of your ability. Last year, when you had the starters, it was. Last year, when you had Costanzo go down, it wasn't. And one of the chief concerns that we brought up this time last year and then into the summer was, all right, you're going with LaRaven Clark as your backup, and nobody bought into that. But I think the expectation was, well, these guys normally stay healthy, so everything was going to be okay. And as we saw a year ago, everything wasn't okay. In fact, once Costanzo went down, Jared Veldier, who was a teacher at the time, who came out of retirement, all of a sudden became your best option and really played the role at best or at its best once Costanzo went down. I don't know if you can bank on, a Tevy or a Davenport or somebody that's already on this squad to be that, considering what we saw Carson Wentz to be when the offensive line in Philadelphia absolutely fell apart a year ago. I think you have to have that security there. Although, if you can get somebody next to Nelson and play left tackle, and you can find that at 54. Rick Venturi told us on Monday that you're not going to find an immediate plug-and-play at 54. A lot of people have suggested maybe a guy like Walker Little. I don't know if you've seen it. That dude's like 6'7", 6'8", 350 or so pounds, playing left tackle. Also have been mentioned, and we talked about this yesterday, as far as, Darrisaw, he would probably have to slide according to a lot of these mock drafts to get him at left tackle. And, you got a variety of other opportunities there. But it's far from can't miss is what I'm saying here. Far from can't miss, just like edge rusher is far from can't miss. Like Jalen Phillips, if you watch him, some of the highlights of Jalen Phillips, he looks pretty good. But, man, he comes with a red flag that if you're looking for somebody to finally be what you really have been searching for since Robert Mathis, I'd be a little bit concerned about that. A history of having concussions. Even with the talent, I know a lot of folks have Jalen Phillips coming off at 21 and maybe being right here at 6'5" and 266. I don't know so much about that. I mentioned Vera Tucker could be somewhere in that neighborhood out of USC. I also mentioned Darrisaw certainly being in that neighborhood at some point too. And then once you get past 21, I mean, if you're talking about wide receivers and those are the best on the board, if you like the kid Bateman from Minnesota or Kadarius Toney, wide receiver, I think from Florida, Elijah Moore from the SEC at Ole Miss, I mean, he is a slot wide receiver, and he's hoping that's what you have already in Paris Campbell. But we shall see. The OA kid out of Penn State as an edge rusher, and no doubt everybody says he has talent, but he didn't have a sack a year ago. I mean, he didn't have a sack. I mean, it's almost like you would trust that Kamoko Toure could give you more than somebody that's somebody that didn't have a sack a year ago. So, I mean, there's a lot of different ways this can go. I guess if I'm sitting here right now at 21 and you're going to tell me they're going to draft at 21, I think it's going to be an edge rusher. And I'll tell you who that edge rusher is going to be coming up a little bit later on in the show. As I mentioned, we're live with the Dugout on this draft night number 1. We're going to be here until 6. Of course, you can sit around and watch the draft here if you want. Pacer game will be on here as well. Here's the reason why I want you to get down here. Got the Pacers and the Nets coming up later on tonight. And believe me, last time out, the Pacers were an absolute mess. There's no doubt about that. Pacers against Brooklyn tonight. Kyrie Irving has already been ruled out for this game this evening. But I'm going to give you a chance, and I know my man Jimmy is here because he wants to go. I'm going to give you a chance at a pair of tickets, courtesy of Coors Light, to win while you're here up until 6 o'clock, so you can head over to Bankers Life Fieldhouse and watch that matchup with the Nets and the Pacers, if you so desire, coming up later on tonight. You know this, that the Dugout here off of Fletcher Place, or in Fletcher Place, I should say. I always forget. Where are we right now? What street is this? College? What is it? That's Virginia right here? Yeah, I always forget. Yeah, Virginia and College is where this is right here, basically. You can join us, sit inside, sit outside, do whatever you want to do. But we're going to be here. We're going to give away tickets to the Pacers-Nets game coming up a little bit later on this evening. But there is a ton of draft conversation for you, a lot of names, and I would agree with you. A year ago, you felt a little bit different, and here's why. Because you weren't involved in night number 1. And the reason why you weren't involved in night number 1 is because you traded that first-rounder for DeForest Buckner. And I was all for that then, and certainly that bared it out because you had a guy that was able to give you what you needed on that defensive line right away. Now, I'm not talking about being able to do that at a Pro Bowl level, but you would like these first 2 guys that are selected, whether it's one tonight, one tomorrow, or whatever the case might be. You would like these first 2 guys, and let's just say for the sake of the argument it's 21 and 54, to be able to add something to a team that for the most part stayed the same in the offseason. Now, for those that bring up Chris Ballard, for example, hey, this is a really important draft, and believe me, it is because you don't have the left tackle of the future on your team. The luxury was Costanzo in the past, of which you do not have. So this is a big draft. But even larger in the grand scheme of things for Chris Ballard, everybody talks about his drafting and how great it is, and he's one of the best drafters. The one thing that Chris doesn't have on his resume is division winning and playoff winning. There's one playoff win. To me, that's the stuff that matters even more. Like, I understand how important this draft is, and I understand how important getting a left tackle for the future right is, and adding something to a team that they did not add via free agency with the money that they had a month or so, a half ago. I understand that completely. But to me, you can make the argument that this is a huge draft for Chris Ballard because all these are. But, I mean, everybody out there right now sings the praises of the draft. The one thing you can't sing the praises of is what you get on the other side of that, and that is divisional production. That is championship divisional production. That is winning another playoff game. That's the stuff that is going to matter. That's why I loved it last year, because you get a guy that already is good to go in DeForest Buckner. Already good to go. I think we all like Michael Pittman Jr., and I think a lot of people would probably make an argument with me right now that you may even like Jonathan Taylor more longer term than you do Michael Pittman Jr. Last year was a really good draft and a really savvy deal to get Buckner in here. There's no question about that. And, yes, you do need a left tackle for the future. You've been trying to find an edge rusher since Robert Mathis. That's why I'm thinking, all right, if you don't find an edge rusher here, then everybody's going to go, well, it's not like you found one since Mathis. But we're going to find out, I think, more about Ballard and where he is right now with what this team looks like this year. You know, and again, as Jim Irsay brought up last week, I mean, so much of that rides on the shoulders as to whether or not they made the right call with Carson Wentz. Is Carson Wentz going to be a 180 compared to the Carson Wentz, the quarterback that we saw a year ago? These are the things that have to happen. I'm not going to undersell the significance of the draft whatsoever, but I think we can still look longer term because, again, we're like the only ones that ever are critical regarding Ballard and the playoff record and Ballard and winning the division, because those are your expectations. I mean, those are your expectations from the Manning and the Poling and the Dungy era, and they're still trying to mirror that. Tonight's draft is important, but I think you got to look at this longer term because, I mean, hell, you get one or two, and the praises are still going to be sung loudly from the national folks out there. I think we all know around here that what matters the most is what's coming up later on, without question. And that is starting to become prominent again in winning the division. You know, being that team that was almost a foregone conclusion back in the day. That's not spoiled. You're not spoiled as a sports fan or a Colts fan around here. You're not spoiled at all. You just got used to it. I would too. I mean, everybody got used to it. 11, 12 wins, whatever. I mean, that's where this team needs to go in this transformation. So I understand the importance of the draft, but I think it's a little short-sighted to say, well, this is the most important draft in the history of Chris Ballard. While it's important, really it's not more important than Carson Wentz being different than what he was a year ago. You know what I mean? I mean, hell, even if like you draft 54 and it's Walker Little and it takes him a lot to get kick-started and we got to see, you know, Tevy or Davenport or whomever at left tackle, the level of importance is going to be how that quarterback looks. Because that's been the biggest decision in the offseason so far. That is going to bear out as the biggest decision. These are big, but certainly not as large as that. We shall discuss at 239-1070. Your email address is jmv@1070thefan.com. Shows on Twitter at jmv1070. Inside the Lounge on YouTube Live. If you guys are looking for me, I am not there, but I'm assuming the camera is and the chair is, and you guys can jump in on all the conversations you want. I'll actually try to log on here shortly and see if I can read some of those conversations and questions that you have. All right, Charles Arbuckle of Sirius XM is going to join us. College football coverage, top of the hour. Go over some of these names that we're talking about with Charles. Mike Chappell of CBS 4 and Fox 59 is going to drop by. coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. I think Mike, along with others, are in belief that the Colts will trade back from 21. I wouldn't mind, and I know it all depends on who's going to be there. I wouldn't mind if they just stuck it out. It seems like that something really weird is going to happen. Anybody else get that feel? And I wish I could explain it to you better. I wish I could make more sense out of it for you. But it just kind of seems like something weird could end up be going down here. That's the way that it feels like to me. So we shall see. All right, reigning MVP Aaron Rodgers is so disgruntled with the Packers that he has told some within the organization. Who is this from right here? I can't see it. Is that Schefter? Oh, I see it now. Within the organization that he does not want to return to the team. All right. See, I told you something weird's going to go down. There's something weird right there. That's going to upset the cart big time right there. So there was a rumor a little bit earlier today. Let me go ahead and get you into context with what Schefter sent out via a text. There's a rumor that San Francisco is going to try to make that deal for Rodgers, and then the Packers are going to jump in on one of these 5 early quarterbacks coming up in that top 3. So that has been the conversation so far. That would be weird. Now, I was just kind of thinking about that, Kyle, and reading that text you sent me of that tweet. So that doesn't have an effect on any opportunities the Colts might have at 21. They're still too far away for that, aren't they? To have that much of an effect. If it's about San Francisco, I guess.
Yeah, you would think it's San Francisco or maybe Atlanta. Maybe he's in that mix, or Detroit. I doubt the Packers would want to trade Rodgers to Detroit, but they're going to want, if they do trade him, they're going to want to have one of those top 4 or 5 quarterbacks.
So, yeah, you got New England. I'm sure would be salivating. Seems like New England would be a good spot for either Lance or Fields if they could end up getting him, because you already got Cam Newton, right? But New England, anywhere is a good spot for him. I mean, anywhere in the NFL is a good spot for him.
The only team that wouldn't want him is Kansas City and maybe Houston if they think they can get Deshaun Watson back.
Well, it looks as if they can't and won't. Without a complete mess the way that it has been to this point. Yes, yeah. There's your weirdness right there. Hell, the words weren't even out of my mouth yet. So, 21, I talked about, pass rusher or edge rusher. I talked about offensive lineman, but we'll see if there is a not-so-subtle change of pace because of this particular news, or maybe this all dials down. I can't think. Man, organizationally, has anybody handled this any worse than they have right now? It is absolutely incredible. But a disgruntled to the point where he wants out of Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers. Now, does he want to get closer to L.A., and I don't mean quarterbacking in L.A., but get onto the West Coast so he can still do that Jeopardy gig too, or try to do that Jeopardy gig part-time? Greater than part-time? Is that part of this thing?
I think it's just he's holding a grudge after that Jordan Love pick, and he was kept in the dark last year. And he went out and proved that he can still play at an MVP level to sort of shove it to them. And Schefter also said that the Packers GM and CEO Mark Murphy has flown out to Rodgers multiple times to convince him to come back, and Rodgers has not budged on his stance.
Oh, that's beautiful stuff right there. All right, all conversations we can have coming up in just a bit. But as it stands right now, the Colts will select at number 21 tonight. You're going to hear that selection or non-selection or trade down or whatever, announcement-wise, with our guys Matt Taylor, voice of the Colts, Joe Rice, the former offensive lineman, Rick Venturi, the former coach, and Jeff Diamond, the former NFL general manager. WIBC coming up later on tonight at 7 o'clock. They will officially get this draft underway with pick-by-pick coverage, conversation, and analyzation, and then certainly get you number 21 and their thoughts on what the Colts do coming up at number 21 and all these big stories. Hell, that now really does it flattens out the whole Tim Tebow working out for the Jaguars and playing tight end for Jacksonville deal. with the Aaron Rodgers latest news right here. We'll see how, if, or whatever happens, and how that may have an effect on the first round of this draft coming up later on tonight. All right, 239-1070. Your thoughts on the Colts at 21, what I had to say about it, and where you think they're going to go at 21, and the level of importance. I know that it's an important draft, but is it being overstated compared to what you're thinking about with the season itself? It just kind of seems like the most important draft for Ballard. To me, trading for Carson Wentz was a hell of a lot more important than this draft. You know, hard targeting Wentz to be the guy right now was a hell of a lot more important than this draft. Am I wrong about that? We'll visit with you at 239-1070, brought to you by Coors Light. We're at the Dugout Bar off of Virginia and College, and somebody's going to win, courtesy of Coors Light, tickets to see the Nets and the Pacers coming up later on tonight at Bankers Life Fieldhouse. All right, 239-1070. Your draft day thoughts and more live from the Dugout. It's 93.5, 107.5, and 1070. The Fan.
Hey, Indy. Tim Pearson here, founder of Chattanooga Whiskey. After years of developing our own rich malt-forward style of bourbon we call Tennessee High Malt, we bring you Chattanooga Whiskey 111. The bold, unfiltered, 111 proof bourbon we fell in love with, straight from the cask into your favorite sipping glass. With notes of chocolate-covered cherries, toasted coconut, and butterscotch, we hope you'll love it as much as we do. Ask about us at your favorite local retailer or bar. Drink Chattanooga Whiskey 111. Enjoy responsibly.
It's time to put all those mock drafts you've looked at to good use. NFL Draft Week is here, people, and PropSwap is cooking with props to buy or sell. How about over-under 5.5 quarterbacks to be taken in round one on Thursday night? What about Kyle Pitts, the Florida tight end, as the first non-quarterback to come off the board? For the Big Ten fans out there, Justin Fields to be drafted in the top 10? All those props right now are available on PropSwap.com. PropSwap and the NFL Draft were made for each other. Having some early draft action is the perfect way to pass the time until your Colts come on the clock at number 21 overall. Remember, PropSwap is your Indiana home to buy and sell props of all sports. It's the eBay for sports props. The odds on PropSwap are the best in the country. If you're not buying and selling on PropSwap, you are missing out. On average, sellers are making $500 a month. So download the PropSwap app or head to PropSwap.com today. PropSwap, the #1 app to buy and sell sports bets.
And now, a telemedicine appointment without AT&T Business Fiber.
I don't know. Hey, Doc, so, what's the prognosis?
Well, based on your chart, it looks like you have...
Wait, what was that?
Sorry, I was just saying...
Doc, you're glitching. Must be slow upload speeds.
Yeah, sorry. I just wish I'd known the difference between upload and download speeds before I got my business internet. Anyway, I'm sorry, what were we talking about?
My leg.
Oh, right. It's fine, except for a small...
Wait, except for what?
Terrible.
Is your small business suffering from slow upload speeds? Upgrade your business to AT&T Business Fiber for superior reliability and speed at our lowest price ever. There's no annual term commitment and no bundle required. Limited availability in select areas. Visit att.com/businessfast or call 844-661-FAST now.
You've undoubtedly heard of the calm before the storm. Well, Michaelis is the calm after the storm. More than 3 decades of restoring damage from wind, rain, and hail. They've got your back, not to mention your front, side, and roof. It's why home and business owners beat a path to Michaelis' door, because it's always answered around the clock with welcome arms. Your port in the storm. From site security and tarping services to complete restoration work, they can handle anything Mother Nature throws your way. Seasoned and trustworthy pros who are never deterred by a little wind and rain, or a mother load of it for that matter. Water, storms, fire, and foundations. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. Call 844-FIX-INDY. Make it Michaelis.
During a normal year, moms do it all. They're superhuman. But this year, moms took on so much more. They kept us safe, kept our hopes up, and kept everyone going. And that's on top of all the other superhuman mom stuff. So this Mother's Day, shop Hellsberg Diamonds and make Mother's Day extra special for her. We have a large selection of meaningful gifts for every budget, so our associates can help you find the perfect gift to show how much you truly appreciate her. Visit your local Helzberg store or helzberg.com. Don't forget your special mom this year, Sunday, May 9th.
Today, we are humbled to share with you the Keep Climbing Foundation. Get involved at keepclimbingfoundation.org.
NMLS number 1326241.
Baptist Heating and Air really wants to help people be comfortable. If you've received a repair quote and want a free second opinion, give us a call. 782-1900.
Baptist is your trusted local independent American Standard air dealer.
The Ride with JMV.
Wow. I don't know what to say. I guess the only thing I can say is I'll promise to keep rocking and rolling and making better films.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Hey, welcome back to the Dugout. We're here courtesy of Coors Light with your chance at Nets Pacers tickets. Got a pair to go to the game, which is at Bankers Life Fieldhouse later on tonight. Pre-game coverage begins at 6:30. That is after us. 7 p is the tip. No Kyrie Irving coming up later on tonight. So we got that for you coming up today, and you can come down here to the Dugout, Virginia and College, and win those, hopefully, for you. Big news so far. Of course, you got the draft. The Colts roll off at 21. Coverage begins at 7 tonight on WIBC. But the big news of the day from ESPN is that apparently Aaron Rodgers, he is disgruntled, and Aaron Rodgers would like to bounce Green Bay. He's got, 1 year, Kyle, remaining on his present contract? I'll give you two things here. One, to me, he's going to stay, play another year, and then more likely bail. Because really, that was Green Bay's thought all along, right? That's why they drafted Jordan Love a year ago. Two would be kind of funny, though, would it not? Is if they traded him in this draft because nothing can get worked out. And I'm not suggesting that's going to happen whatsoever. But they traded him in this draft, and they draft a wide receiver. Now, that would be classically hilarious to me because that has been a part of the issue. Hey, draft help for me. Get me some more offensive help. I thought their offense was pretty good a year ago. Now, a lion's share of that, if not most or all of it, has to do with the arm of Aaron Rodgers. But still, I think that would be pretty funny. Seems like that's what Green Bay had in mind anyway, right? All right, so he's going to play out the string of his contract, and then Jordan Love is going to take over. You got some drama. I don't know if this drama is going to equate to anything, but we shall see. Charles Arbuckle, top of the hour, Mike Chappell, 5 o'clock hour. 239-1070 is the number live from the Dugout. And Phil is up first today. Phil, thank you for the call.
Hey, thanks for taking the time, Andy. Appreciate it.
You got it, buddy. You got it.
Hey, so with the draft coming up, I got some concerns about these defensive ends, and I just think it would be a reach to take any of the big three in the first round. I just drove back from Nashville, Tennessee, and those pundits down there, they're freaking out about the Colts picking at 21 in front of them at 22 and taking Elijah Moore. That's their guy. I know we got Paris Hilton. Or whatever the hell his name is, Campbell, the guy.
Yeah, Paris Campbell. Yeah.
Yeah.
The world has Paris Hilton. Yeah, but we have Paris Campbell here as a part of the Colts team. Yeah.
Right, just as irrelevant, man, non-existent anymore. But yeah, so I think we're going to get a wide receiver at 21, and in the second round, who would you take? Would you take Eichenhaus or what's the dude's name, Eisenberger from Notre Dame? What do you think about that guy?
I've been looking at Walker Little a little bit, just because at 54 he might be, and we had talked to Venturi about this on Monday. He might be, the guy being there at 54. Unless they do trade back, and I think honestly, Phil, most people around here believe they're going to do that. But let's just say, for our argument or debate here, they stay where they are. I look at Walker Little, the big left tackle out of Stanford at 54. I think Eichenberg's going to go. I'm going to go well before 54.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Jay, I appreciate your time. I just think those defensive ends are just too skeptical for me, man. Thank you.
Listen, and thank you, Phil, for the call. I appreciate it. I can't see. First of all, it's because of how he's valued that position in the past. Secondly, it's because I know it's still a pipe dream at this point, but it's because they have Paris Campbell on the roster, even though coming off of injury. I find it hard to believe that they would draft Elijah Moore there. Elijah Moore there. I find it hard to believe they'd do that there. It's like the same thing with Rashad Bateman, same thing with Terrence Marshall. But to me, a change of plan would be if one of those top three, and Chase is going to go inside the top 10 at some point, and probably with Waddle and Smith, they all. But if one of those guys were to happen to all of a sudden get all the way to 21, and I know it's kind of a nonsensical argument, but 95% of the stuff we discuss here turns out to be that way. If one of those top three dudes, yes, then absolutely. But if it, is a Moore or a Bateman or a Marshall, somebody like that, which what we have described as like the second tier, for example, I even slotted Rondale Moore into that category as well. Kind of those, second tier wide receivers that are out there. If it's somebody like that, Kadarius Toney from Florida also rings a bell. If it's somebody like that, then no. But if it's one of those top three, those elite described level guys, yeah, I would absolutely say yes. I just can't see that happening. Phil, thank you for the call. Line 2 is Jonathan up next. Hello, Jonathan. How are you?
Hey, good afternoon. Thank you for your time.
You got it. Go ahead.
I have the same theory as I did a long time ago. I think they stay at 21, and I think it's going to be Elijah Vera Tucker from Southern Cal. Stampede Blue came out with an article very recently that he's like their cleanest solution because he could do left offensive tackle or left guard, and probably better than Darisaw athletically, just not built exactly the same in terms of length, like you want to see in a Costanzo or something. And I know Ballard loves to trade back, but you can't go to sleep at night letting those OTs slip between where you were and where you traded to, even if it's just like short to Green Bay or like the Saints or something. Because Jenkins, Cosme could be gone. If it's Kwity Paye, all right. Like, I don't think he'll fall that far anyway, and he's the best defensive end, but I just don't think you like 54 for offensive tackle.
I think, and your logic is along the same lines as mine as wide receiver. And your logic with pass rushing or edge rusher is if it's a guy like Kwity Paye, yes. But if it's, a Jalen Phillips or somebody like that, it's a no, is what you're saying, right? If it's that next tier of edge rusher, I would tend to agree with you on that as well, too. It's weird because Vera Tucker and Darisaw, who you mentioned, they, 6'4", 6'5" neighborhood right there. And, Walker Little, I think, is ideally, he's taller, 6'8", bigger, but, he's a guy that probably will be there at 54, but not a lot of people are talking about right now. So
if he didn't opt out, he could have been the best overall, like almost Penei Sewell. But, I could see where you would say that.
Well, and what you're telling me here is, too, it's like everybody else is thinking they're going to trade back. If all these come up empty with these names they're talking about here, I mean, it would stand to reason that everybody's going to be accurate that suggests they're going to trade out of 21 because they're just not going to find what they're looking for, and at the same time try to get yourself another pick. So that's why everybody's going there. But I think our wide receiver and edge rusher philosophy is the same. So I do.
Right. I do agree. I think a corner needs to wait, and I just don't think you like the spillover on offensive tackle in the second round as much as defensive end.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. Jonathan, thank you for the call. I do buy a lot of what Jonathan just said regarding that, too. You get to the point where, and Phillips would worry me just because of the medical. That means he'll probably be incredible at the next level, but that would worry me a little bit. And you're just kind of in that really odd no man's land of, somebody may surprisingly, I mean, game-breaking slide to you. But then again, somebody may not. And, when you look at Vera Tucker and you look at Darisaw, they're both in the neighborhood of, 6'4", 6'5", 315, 320 category right there. And, Eichenberg, if people think Eichenberg may not go until 54, I think he goes well before 54. And he may be right. Little from Stanford may go before that as well. But to me, if you don't get a Dershaw, Vera Tucker type of guy there, then you bypass left tackle until a little bit later on, which I think they will do by virtue of trading down. But if there is a Kwity Paye that slips down there, or as I mentioned, if there's an elite level wide receiver that slips down there, that may be the only reason this team sticks with number 21. We shall see. Brian is up next at 239-1070. Brian, hello.
Hey, how you doing, JMV?
I'm great, Brian. Thanks for the call.
Hey, have you ever made a bet and then they throw in the little kind of remind me of Fast Times at Ridgemont High when the kid was like, don't forget about the 14-point spread, after he took the guy's money.
Exactly.
That was
I
called
there.
Dan on Tuesday, and he said, well, hey, I told him I got 13-1 on Pittman last year to go to the Colts, And he said, well, whatever you decide on, call me and I'll bet it, But I got tied up a little bit today and didn't get a chance to call him. But I like ACC over 5.5 players. But then I go and make the bet on one of these apps, and they're like, Notre Dame doesn't count. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
well,
you just got 1 year. They're going to bail. They're going to make a 30 for
technically.
30 out of it, but they're not going to let you bet on it this year.
I still think the ACC is going over 5.5, but I don't know. The other app, I got the bet in, and it didn't have any disclaimers there. So if you include Notre Dame, which they play ACC schedule, don't they? So
they did this
I didn't
past
get it.
year, but it was because of the pandemic, if you remember. So, yeah.
I thought they were like permanently like doing that.
I think it was just a 1 year. It was a 1 year deal. They're going to cut a 30 for 30 about, I think, too. So.
Well, maybe it's not quite the slam dunk bet I thought it was, but I still think.
All right. Well, wait a minute. What's your bet at 21 then? You said you had a bet at 21. Who is it?
Well, no, I didn't put anything I've really found that I fell in love with. Or actually, I haven't even seen anything where they offered the team odds on a player. Like last year, I got it. The draft had already started because remember the Colts drafted day 2.
Yeah. Well, I thought I saw on FanDuel where Phillips is the odds-on favorite to get there at 21 if the Colts select at 21.
I'd have to double check, but
Yep.
I kind of like this kid Newsome.
the quarterback
how
out of
Ballard
Northwestern.
likes to draft smart kids from Stanford, Northwestern. And the only issue with him is he's missed like 13 games in like 3 years. So
and Brian, thank you for the call. I appreciate that. And if you remember, Jim Irsay did mention cornerback, and a lot of people have dismissed that as maybe sandbagging or misdirecting or whatever. But I will say this: I mean, when Jim talks, normally that is the people always say, "Well, Chris Ballard is going to tell you the truth, and he's going to give you a nugget here." Nobody gives you a nugget and the truth more than the owner does. Nobody does. Nobody is as forthright with information as the owner is. So that could end up being the philosophy around 21, too, which we'll talk about with our good friend Charles Arbuckle at the top of the hour. There is Billy right here. Coors Light brings us to you at the dugout. We're down off Virginia and College. We're here with Coors Light to give you a chance at Nets Pacers tickets for the game tonight. Sign up to win Nets Pacers later on tonight. More draft coverage continues. Charles Arbuckle, top of the hour. Mike Chappell, 5 o'clock hour. Draft night number 1 coming at you, 93 WIBC later on tonight with Matt Taylor, Rick Venturi, Joe Wrights, and Jeff Diamond. They are underway at 7. Meantime, here we've got the Pacer game for you until after the postgame show. And then we'll get right to that draft night number 1 coverage. 93.5, 107.5, and 1070 The Fan.
The savings are in full bloom on every new and pre-owned vehicle at Hubler. Spring into something new at all Hubler locations. Visit drivehubler.com.
Kids, tell your parents about Forum Credit Union's Sprout of the Month contest, where you could win $100 in a Sprout account. Details at 1075thefan.com.
Denny Smith for my friends at Sundown Gardens. Spring has sprung and it's go time. Stop and find the tree that's right for your yard this year. Many gorgeous oaks, maples, and evergreens are now in stock. Ornamental trees like Japanese maples, hydrangea trees, and weeping redbuds are available too. The shrub lot is full of blooming and evergreen shrubs. Need privacy? See Sundown's large selection of arborvitae, a great solution for screening. Don't forget bagged or bulk mulch for your garden beds. Sundown Gardens, 186th Street and Spring Mill Road. SundownGardens.com.
Hey, John, for LD Smith Plumbing. Hey, shout out. I saw one of the LD Smith Plumbing vans on the move. I was following the big dog this morning up on 37, and you could tell that they were serious because somebody had some plumbing issues. And they did the right move here. I mean, if you have plumbing issues, 317-284-9526 is the number to call. That's Lance and his local team at LD Smith Plumbing. Large or small gigs, whatever the case might be, with any type of plumbing issue, you make sure you call on the best. That's Lance and his team at LD Smith Plumbing. And ask about this. Tell them that I sent you. $300 off a tankless water heater. That's going to save in energy, more efficient. It's going to save you money every month, plus give you gallons upon gallons of hot water. A tankless water heater in your home. Mention my name, get $300 off. With Lance and his team at LD Smith Plumbing, 317-284-9526, online, ldsmithplumbing.com today.
Now is the time to cheer on your Indiana Pacers live inside Bankers Life Fieldhouse.
They give it to Sabonis. Score and a foul! Domantas Sabonis!
Single-game Pacer tickets are now on sale, and a safe fan experience is our top priority.
On the break, McConnell, McDermott in on the left side with a two-hand slam.
The Pacers clash with one of the top teams in the East, the Brooklyn Nets. Get your tickets at Pacers.com. Oh, baby! Pacers Nets, Thursday at 7.
Hi, I'm Ryan Kelly. Our driving force at the Home Loan Expert has never been about the profits. It's much more than that. We look at growth as an opportunity to raise more dollars and awareness for incredible causes that help make the world a better place. Today, we are humbled to share with you our gift, the Keep Climbing Foundation. Learn more today and get involved at keepclimbingfoundation.org.
The Home Loan Expert LLC, NMLS number 1326241.
T-Mobile is bringing 5G from big cities to small towns across America. We've been investing billions to light up the largest and fastest 5G network. And now, according to competitive data from Umlaut, T-Mobile is the most reliable 5G network, too. To celebrate, we're inviting everyone to upgrade their experience. Introducing the free 5G upgrade. Bring any working cell phone to T-Mobile and trade it in for a free 5G Samsung Galaxy. Still have a flip phone? If it can make a call, you can trade it in. Plus, all our plans include 5G access on the full T-Mobile network at no extra cost. Now that's an upgrade. T-Mobile is America's leader in 5G. Experience it today with the free 5G upgrade. Visit a neighborhood store or T-Mobile.com to learn more.
Phone via 24 bill credits while supplies last, plus tax. If you cancel credit, stop and balance on required finance agreement may be due. Contact us. Qualifying credit, service, and undamaged trade-in required. Most reliable according to independent third-party Umlaut from crowdsourced user experience data from September 2020 to February 2021. Details at T-Mobile.com.
Now more than ever, people want to know if there's anything they can do to help. And the answer is yes at BioLife Plasma Services. Your plasma is desperately needed to create life-changing medicines to help treat people with immune deficiencies, those who are most at risk right now. And when you donate plasma at BioLife, you can earn up to $1,000 in your first month as a token of appreciation for your time. So please, become a donor at BioLife. Visit biolifeplasma.com to learn more.
We buy any car. We buy any car. We buy any car. Any.
Did you know trading in your car at a dealer could cost you money? A recent study found consumers who trade in their car pay an average of $990 more. So don't trade in. Sell it to We Buy Any Car. Learn more and get your free online valuation now at WeBuyAnyCar.com.
Find out how much your car's worth at We Buy Any Car.
The Pacers host the Brooklyn Nets this evening at 6:30 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. The Ride with JMV.
Don't read your email, because I'm really butthurt when you read your email.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
It is the Dugout Bar, Virginian College, our location on this draft day leading into draft night number 1. Got Nets Pacers tickets to give away, courtesy of Coors Light, a little bit later on, too. So be ready for that. Join us here at the Dugout Bar since 1954. Say hello to Nick if you're down here as well. Always one of our favorite stops when we're out and about. Dugout here, Virginia and College, until a little bit after 6 with 93.5, 107.5, and 1070 The Fan. All right, at JMV 1070 via Twitter, Eddie in Silverdale, Washington, chiming in regarding this. We should draft a left tackle. Don't get cute and trade down, then draft best player available on defense the rest of the draft. Eddie's philosophy is get the best left tackle, or in this case, the best tackle on the board, because Jenkins, the guy that played predominantly right, moved a little bit around. It's funny. Like, you get a lot of people suggesting that it'd be okay if you predominantly played on the right side. It'd be an easy move if you have that level of talent to the left tackle. And believe me, I've made that argument too with Nelson from left guard to left tackle. And I think I want you to keep this in mind too, because I know I've been shot down a number of times, and I know I'm going to stir everybody up by saying this. And I know I also throw everything against the wall, because at some point, much like Eugenio Suarez with opposing pitchers, at some point I'm going to make contact with it, right? I mean, there are going to be oftentimes I'm going to do nothing but whiff. But at some point I am going to make a little bit of heavy contact. But keep this in mind. You could still, if you wanted to, go left guard to left tackle. If that left tackle that you want for the long-term future is not there. Call me crazy. Now, that's okay. That wouldn't be the first time. I'm just suggesting you could, if you wanted to. Thank you, Eddie in Silverdale, Washington. I appreciate that. I mentioned this a little bit earlier, too. Aaron Rodgers, according to Adam Schefter, unhappy with the Packers, right? He's disgruntled with the Packers. He apparently wants out. Dropping this information right now would lead a lot of people to believe that maybe there is going to be a market for Aaron Rodgers coming up during this draft. Listen, the one thing is Green Bay actually drafted Jordan Love a year ago because they thought at the end of the Aaron Rodgers deal that they were going to move on from Aaron Rodgers. So if they had that plan in place, and I know if he continues to play, you could get something for him right now, what have you. I get it. But, I mean, would he sit out next year? Would he be that disgruntled? Could you squeeze one more year out of him as you wanted anyway and then move on to Jordan Love? Or do you want to make sure you get something out of him right now and you actually think about dealing him? Or do you take your time and talk with him and see if, you know, much like last year, they basically had to do the same thing because he was pissy last year about what went down. Still went out there and played incredible, as we saw. I mean, basically, you drafted Jordan Love to make this change in the next couple of years anyway. So this may ultimately still be on their timetable. Although you would have to think there are a lot of teams out there basically outside of what? Kansas City and Tampa. There are a lot of teams out there that take this right here and right now, and San Francisco, I'm sure, sitting at number 3, would be one of those. Anyway, we'll talk about that a little bit later on. Charles Arbuckle, top of the hour, 239-1070 is the number. OD is next. Hello, OD. How are you?
JMV, what's going on, man?
Good to hear from you.
So, trade back. That's all I've been hearing. What if we call Detroit? I think they're 7 or 8. They need a lot, man. They need an awful lot. We already, put what we put into getting Wentz here. Why not just go all out and try to get up there and get – I think Sewell will be there when Detroit's picking at 7. What would it take for the Colts to have to get that high?
I don't think they have nearly enough, because I think if they would have had enough, they probably would have already tried to get up there already. Maybe they would have. I mean, there was a lot of conversation how much, I know when all these pre-draft workouts started, how much that they liked Justin Fields. And then we saw how much it took for other teams to get up there, San Francisco to get up there, other teams to get up there. I don't see it, man. I don't see it. So I think
if he slides closer to 10, obviously that's the best thing that can happen scenario-wise for the Colts, because that pushes all the rest of the tackles back further.
Sure. I get it. Yeah, right.
But we'll give you 21.
Well, and then ask yourself this.
What do we,
I know. Hey,
the Hall of Fame tackle.
Odie, answer this, though. If these guys, if Sewell slides – and then these other guys slide by virtue of that at the same position, you're going to move however much it's going to take, which is going to be a crap ton to move up there when you can get somebody. Now, I know you believe that, Sewell is going to be Hall of Fame worthy, but, in all likelihood, you're going to get somebody in the neighborhood that's going to slide to you at 21. I guess my opinion would be, why would you give up so much? Because it would be a haul to do something like that. That's why I don't see it.
I guess I fall back on the fact that we know how good, as you said earlier, that Chris Ballard is with the draft picks. He can get creative. He can do a lot to get more picks in the future. We got a lot of rookies that need paid now. I mean, I understand that. So I don't think you're going to be able to go out and get like Orlando Brown like the Chiefs did. The only reason I think the Colts didn't go do that is because they couldn't afford him. They can't pay him, Nelson, and Smith all top dollar.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt. And that's why this –
man, if you heard anything about maybe us moving forward, because it's always about moving backwards, and I think a lot of Colts fans are tired of that.
OD, thank you very much. And remember, a year ago, they moved up to get Jonathan Taylor, and that worked out. But this is completely different. To me, they don't have the assets to do it. To me, had they had the assets, they would have already tried to do it. They don't have the assets because they had to burn assets in the offseason to bring in the quarterback of the future. So they don't have the assets to do it. I don't think they're going to do it. He did trade up a year ago, if you remember, because they did have a hard target of Jonathan Taylor, and that certainly worked. But this is a different dynamic as far as what you would have to give up altogether, without question. And they had to burn some in the offseason to get Carson Wentz, their quarterback of the future, in here. Let me take a break, and we'll return. Top of the hour, Charles Arbuckle will go over some of these guys that are going to be available, his thoughts on that, and a lot more, live at the Dugout Bar with Coors Light and your chance at Nets Pacers tickets coming up for tonight's game a little bit later on. 93.5, 107.5, and 1070 The Fan.
Rick Edelman, #1 New York Times bestselling author and founder of Edelman Financial Engines, takes questions on his hit radio show. Let's listen to Rick help a caller who's saving for retirement.
Hey, Rick, how can I keep my retirement money safe?
By taking some risk. That sounds weird, I know, but when it comes to saving for retirement, if you try to keep your money safe, you're actually taking big risks. Savings accounts, well, they're not safe from inflation. They're not safe from taxes. There are, in fact, 18 different asset classes, and they all have different risks. So spread your money around, so no one thing can wipe you out. It's like having 12 eggs in 12 baskets. Diversification helps you manage your risk while still giving you the opportunities provided by the financial markets.
That was award-winning radio host Rick Edelman. Get help diversifying your portfolio from one of our financial planners by calling 888-PLAN-RICK or visit rickedelman.com.
Yep. Hey, it's John here for FanDuel Sportsbook. Nothing like watching the game, right? Baseball, it's awesome too. Especially, you're watching your favorite team. But you know what is also fun? Watching any team. And then having a little something on the game, and that's what you can do, with FanDuel Sportsbook, letting new users swing for the fences risk-free. All right, here's what's going to happen. You'll get up to a $1,000, in fact, back in site credit if your first bet doesn't win. So once you have this account going, right, $25 back each day in site credit if your same-game parlay bet fails. In this case, if it fails, if you've ever been around same-game parlay, but if it falls one leg short, you have that insurance. And that's what FanDuel Sportsbook's doing for you, America's #1 sportsbook. Hey, get in the game, man. Make baseball more fun. There is so much to do with FanDuel Sportsbook and betting on baseball. It is awesome. That's FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code JMV. Utilize that. Make sure they know who sent you for all this fun and your chance to win big, especially you new users out there. FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code JMV. 21 plus and present in Indiana. First online real money wager only for risk-free bet. Refund issued in non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Restrictions apply. See sportsbook.fanduel.com for details. Gambling problem, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Hey, I'm Piper. Here's my deal. I want the best for the least. Right now, Bill Estes Chevy has 30 pre-owned vehicles priced less than $14,700. Ask for Piper's pre-owned deal to get $3,000 more for your trade. Want something brand new? The Equinox is $7,000 off, and at this price, we can't keep them on the lot. If we don't have exactly what you want, pre-order your Equinox to lock in Piper's price. $7,000 off. $7,000 off and $3,000 more for your trade? Now my deal is your deal at Bill Estes Chevy. I-465 and Michigan Road, the friendliest intersection in Indy.
It's time to put all those mock drafts you've looked at to good use. NFL Draft Week is here, people, and PropSwap is cooking with props to buy or sell. How about over-under 5.5 quarterbacks to be taken in round 1 on Thursday night? What about Kyle Pitts, the Florida tight end, as the first non-quarterback to come off the board? For the Big Ten fans out there, Justin Fields to be drafted in the top 10. All those props right now are available on PropSwap.com. PropSwap and the NFL Draft were made for each other. Having some early draft action is the perfect way to pass the time until your Colts come on the clock at number 21 overall. Remember, PropSwap is your Indiana home to buy and sell props of all sports. It's the eBay for sports props. The odds on PropSwap are the best in the country. If you're not buying and selling on PropSwap, you are missing out. On average, sellers are making $500 a month. So download the PropSwap app or head to PropSwap.com today. PropSwap, the #1 app to buy and sell sports bets.
Best service, best products. Do it best.
Hi, Brian Baker here at Builders Lumber and Hardware, your locally owned Shelbyville home center. One of the greatest grilling debates is gas or charcoal. Whether you're a low and slow charcoal enthusiast or set it and forget it gas griller, being Shelby County's largest Weber dealer, we've got you covered. Stop by today and we'll help you decide the great debate, charcoal or gas.
Take those pesky weeds out of your lawn and feed the grass in return. That's exactly what Scott's Turf Builder Weed and Feed does. It kills listed weeds while it feeds and thickens your grass to help crowd out future invasions. To learn more about Scott's Turf Builder Weed and Feed, visit your local Do It Best store.
Shop local, shop Do It Best. We're located at 1309 Miller Avenue in Shelbyville. Builders Lumber and Hardware, building relationships one project at a time.
Best service, best products. Do it best.
Hello, this is Jeff Bassett with Bassett Services. It's time to change that air filter and to schedule your tune-up. Visit us at BassettServices.com.
Bassett Services is your trusted local independent American Standard air dealer.
Sports Center updates on the Fan are brought to you by Big O Tires. Spring savings are here. Buy 3, get 1 free on select sets of Aspen, Mesa, and Nito tires now through May 2nd. Big O Tires, the team you trust.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
WFNI, WIBC, HD2, W298BB, WIBC, HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis.
Soccer Saturday featuring Indy 11. If this is your football, this is your show. Saturday at 9 on The Fan. The Ride with JMV.
1, is this or is this not the XFL? Yes, it is. 2, do I or do I not currently have a pulse? Yes, I do. Let's play football.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Hey, welcome back. Dugout Bar. We're off of Virginia. Brought to you by Coors Light. I've got Nets Pacers tickets to give away. Pair of those a little bit later, so come on down. Kevin writes this. Are there no left tackle or edge rushers left in free agency worth taking a flyer on? Left tackle, no. I mean, Eric Fisher rehabbing from his injury before the Super Bowl. Certainly is one. Melvin Ingram, I think, is still on the market. Ryan Kerrigan is still on the market. Justin Houston, who was here a year ago, is still on the market. But if any of those names float your boat, I would highly doubt it. And you're going to have to wait a long time for a guy like Eric Fisher to get back from that injury. J. Kiley Kepner, he writes this. So for S's and G's, if Smith falls to 21, do the Colts take the next Marvin Harrison? I've said this, of the 3 upper tank wide receivers, none of which, in my estimation, will be there. But if we're talking Smith or Waddle or Chase, all 3 at 21, if you're the Colts, you automatically draft one of those, any of those 3. Now, if it's lower than that, if it's Bateman, if it's Moore, if it's Marshall, Rondale, whatever the case might be, no. But those guys, those first 3, absolutely. All right. Andy Moore, Automotive Group Hotline, friend of the show. And if you remember a year ago, he absolutely pegged Michael Pittman Jr., and we talked about him leading up to the draft, and the Colts went that direction in round number 2, and I'm assuming feel really good about that pick. Charles Arbuckle, the former NFL tight end, and Sirius XM and more can be found with his breakdown of college football, joins us now. I want to kind of start here, and then we'll play off of a lot of the stuff that's going on right now, Charles, in the NFL and certainly leading up to the draft. You were from UCLA. Jalen Phillips started in UCLA, ended down in Miami. He is an edge rusher that everybody loves, although he comes with a variety of medical red flags. If he's at 21, is that a can't miss, or because of those medicals, do you bypass that, Charles, if you're the Colts?
I don't love Jalen, and it's not because of the medicals. It's sometimes I watch him and I see the energy and the effort, but I don't see the Dwight Freeney type of just nastiness to get to the quarterback, or a Robert Mathis kind of guy. You know, when I think of edge rushers, they set the standard for the Colts, and I don't always see that on film with him. As much as I like the kid, and I hate that it didn't work out for him at UCLA. It has nothing to do with that. But I really just watched him after he got to Miami, and I thought, yes, he's going to be great. The measurables look everything looks good about him. But there are times when his body language, even on the field, I don't like it. And I played against enough great defensive ends to kind of know what good looks like, and having got my butt kicked a few times more than I'd like to admit. I don't always see that with Jalen. And so at a 21st pick, you can say you can take a chance there, but I do think there's some guys that are out there that might be better from that standpoint. I was wondering where he was going to go and how high he was going to be picked, and I don't know if I would pick him at the 21st pick. That's just me.
Yeah, it's Charles Arbuckle joining us before the draft via the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. I want to keep this, too. We'll bounce around a little bit from edge rusher to offensive tackle, because these are the hard targets for the Colts that a lot of us are looking at number 21. And I'll keep this in the ACC. We've heard a great deal about the left tackle position, and Christian Darrisaw may or may not be there at 21. Some have him slotted going a little bit earlier than that, maybe just inside the top 15. From what you have seen, what you hear around ACC country, how good is he, and how does that talent translate to the next level?
You know, a lot of people are talking about him, right? And I think that's the one thing with the left tackle position. You know, you always kind of want to plug and play and say, hey, who did the Colts have? You know, I can remember Tariq Glenn. You can go back in time. There were other really great left tackles, but I think those are hard shoes to step into, especially when you're starting to see that defensive line. Because I can remember a few years ago, you and I talked. I said, hey, Big Q from Notre Dame would be a perfect fit. You guys picked him.
Yeah.
Right? Pittman
right.
last year. So it's been interesting. This year, what's kind of funny is I don't have the same vibe even for the city where I'm living in Charlotte, because there's no combine, a lot of new folks that are GMs, so you don't have history to go back to kind of say, okay, this is what this guy likes to do. I know who he has on his staff. So this is a little bit different year for me in this draft, and I think we're going to have a lot of shocks. But what you're saying is, you know, do you need a left tackle? You know, Penny Sewell's not going to be there at that time, right? He's going to be gone. So you have to start looking lower and lower, deeper, to see who will be there, and that's kind of what I look at. But I think you're right. There's some really good players in the ACC, and the young guy you were just mentioning is one, and I think that's what I'm hearing. But is that going to be the case? Is he going to go? And you know what else is always interesting? We talk about all the skill guys, and then all of a sudden there's somebody that just is shooting up the board. He gets picked as a tackle or a guard, but in particular tackle. Then there's a run on tackles. So that's what I'm curious to see if that's going to happen as well, especially with the flux of quarterback positioning and offensive line, with a lot of teams needing offensive line help.
Charles Arbuckle joins us via the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. You mentioned our world in the NFL with a lack of a combine, does that make even more so these measurable? Because I know that the medicals, Jerry Jones brought this up, I think, early in the week about, kind of being more so than ever in the dark about the medicals because you didn't have the combine. How much or how skewed might some of these measurables be? And I'll say this with the kid from Penn State, Owe, who is described as this athletically gifted beast, but did not have a sack a year ago. Is it more now the time to look on the type of college production that these guys gave by the lack of a combine because of the pandemic this past year?
Well, I think you're absolutely right. I look at the combine more of a sense to see guys how they stack up against others after having productive careers, but also knowing that, hey, who is really serious about it and who's put in the work. If they are a player that played well on the field and then comes to the combine and does well if they test, then I say, okay, yeah, this guy likes football. He's going to do what he needs to do, and he's going to sit there. I think the biggest issue you have is that some people get too enamored with the combine, but what it hasn't allowed you to do is hear some of the noise that could be there. Which offensive lineman, looked better than this other one? Which one had medical issues that they could clearly find out about? I mean, JMV, I'll tell you this, man. I tell this story all the time. I hurt my ankle in Little League baseball. In the ninth, I was about 8 or 9, maybe 10 years old. Stepped in a hole, fractured my ankle. It was a really bad sprain, but it was a slight fracture. I don't think any doctor ever noticed that until I got to the combine. And they start poking and prodding on places that I forgot I had hurt. So I think to your point, that's the big thing with the combine to me. It's going to expose, hey, who has no ACL in his leg like a Garrison Hurst, but still can go out and become a Pro Bowl running back? Who there has things that we didn't realize about him? And I think the combine exposes that. The other side to it is you get to see guys in a setting where there's it's a pressure cooker. They're really just trying to interview you and pressure you into saying something stupid and doing something dumb. And if you can get through that week, then you're fine. If not, that's where things trip you up. And I think it exposes that's what we are not going to see this year, which is a little bit different for me and I think everybody, and what doesn't give you a chance to see, okay, who can go in there and ace the interview? Who can go in there, who's medically the right person, and who can go in and perform if they choose to? That just checks the boxes for me. If you can't play, I don't care if you do all that. I still think you're a workout warrior, and, you may show for a little while, but if you don't like the game and you can't play the game, that's going to be exposed.
Yeah, and that's something they just don't have to rely on because, listen, in most years, they have all this information and they're proud of it, and it seems like it's not a mystery. That's too much of a description for it. That's going overboard, but there's just not as much information as you normally would get leading up to the draft. Charles Arbuckle joins us. I'm going to stick in the ACC as well because Jim Irsay told me last Wednesday that cornerback, he kind of referenced cornerback, and the Colts, in his estimation, have 2. They need 3. Caleb Farley is a guy that's high up on a lot of lists, but on some of these mocks, slides down to the end of round number 1. I think he's had a medical situation, I think, at Vatech. Whatever the case might be, how would he fit for the Colts in need of a corner if he's there at 21? Is that at all fit?
Yeah, I think that's a fit, but I think if you're worried or concerned, look, Virginia Tech has put out cornerbacks and defensive backs over the course of time, but he's slated as one of the higher ranked guys, but not far behind him is Patrick Surtain, Asante Samuel at Florida State. I think J.C. Horn is one of those underrated guys that I don't think people talk enough about out of South Carolina, but I thought he made a lot of plays. So you had, it's interesting that you're top heavy with corners, and I think there's some corners that that'll show up that we don't really see and we're not going to talk about. You can talk through those top few guys. I don't think you'll be disappointed with any of the first 4 that I mentioned if any of them are there available at 21 if you choose to go that route. Because I think the one thing you and I both know is you got to have guys that can defend not only the outside receiver, you got to have a guy that can play nickel at times. You got to be able to have some versatility. And I think the thing with Caleb Farley is what people are enamored with is his length, 6'2", 207. But if you look at a guy like Patrick Surtain, he's 6'2", 202. I think the one thing with J.C. Horn that I liked was his length, 6'1", 205. So guys that can play, guys that can move, and that they're in that 205 range, so they're solid enough. Asante Samuel's a little bit smaller, but just remember his dad played a long time and was a great NFL veteran in the league. So I know he knows how to play the game, and I think that's the one thing when you look at and you start seeing what do the Colts need. Do they need a rangy kind of corner? Do they need a guy that's rangy and that'll come up and knock your block off at the cornerback position? And I think that's where you have to start making, because that defense for the Colts has really started to change, and I think Darius Leonard has been the heart and soul. But if you look at them now, they play you in all facets, and they're only going to get better, which I think is going to help that offense as well.
Charles Arbuckle via the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline, giving you a look through the window of tonight's first round of the NFL draft. And, we were talking about edge rushers with Jalen Phillips a little bit earlier, too. And, Ojulari out of Georgia is another guy that has been mentioned as well. Let's start right there, I guess. There's somebody we haven't talked about at great length around here. His game, 21 availability, how does that translate, certainly for a team in the Colts that have been trying to track down that next edge rusher since Robert Mathis?
Yeah, I mean, what I was always impressed with him was his first step. I mean, I think that was the first thing with Ojulari that stood out to me when I first started watching it. He's a sophomore and a kid that has really good speed. I think the one thing for him, because of his size, I think he only weighed in at 240, maybe 245, was that he struggled against some of the bigger offensive linemen. And when you talk about Mathis, who was an undersized edge rusher, Rob was super strong. I don't think people realize how strong he was and how great his technique was coming in. I mean, he had some moves. I can remember when he first got to the Colts that blew everybody away, because they look at a guy that was, 230, maybe 235. I can't remember his exact weight when he got there. And everybody thought, oh, well, Alabama A&M. Yeah, he had some things that just made you say, oh, wow. And I think that's the biggest thing. If you have great first step quickness, you got to have great moves, but you also have to play with great leverage. And I don't ever remember Robert Mathis being afraid to take on a 290, 300-pound guy because he knew how to leverage and play with him. And I think, Dwight Freeney was already at 5'11", 6 feet. Dwight will probably say, no, he was 6'1", but it didn't matter. He played so much bigger, and he had a little bit longer extension in his arms and just could – that's the thing you start looking for. So I'm curious to see how that's going to work out, and that's one of the reasons why I wasn't as high on Jalen Phillips when I watched him at times. Kwity Paye, who I don't think will be there, but if he is there that late, I think that's another name. Just kind of watch because, if he happens to fall down in the draft board, he would be a guy that I would say the Colts will probably just say, yeah, let's go 6'4", 277 or 272, very explosive. But he didn't have the on-field production that you would think from a guy that size and with that much explosiveness. So that's the part when you're looking at guys that can come off the edge, you want to make sure that you don't get enamored with all the, they look great and they're long and they do this. Can they actually play? And, I think with Jalen Phillips, the one thing that I do know, he's got great length. But if he plays high like he did in college, that was the thing that turned me off to him when I watched him consistently. And I saw him not look good against a Clemson team that really, that I thought he would have played better against.
So Charles Arbuckle joins us. So Jamar Chase will be off. Jalen Waddle should be off. There has been some conversation that maybe you'd see a slide from Devontae Smith down a little bit. I've said this. I would love to see the Colts. I would be fine at 21 if they drafted a wide receiver. But to me, it would have to be one of those three. And it's not like I dislike, Moore or Bateman or Marshall or that next tier of wide receiver. I just think you go a different route if it's them. Is there any chance that a guy like Devontae Smith would slide to 21? And would it be a foregone conclusion if you're Chris Ballard, if he is there at 21, you take him, right?
Yeah, I think Frank Reich and those guys might be saying, here's the deal with Devontae. Very similar to Flipper Anderson, who I played with in college and, saw in the league. And, he wasn't the biggest guy, but always would get open and, still holds a record for yardage in a game, I think 336 yards. Devontae has that kind of ability. And I always saw him going up to high point the ball and running by people. Now, Jalen Waddle is also a very good player. Any of those three, I agree with you. If they're there, it'd be hard to pass those guys up. But then again, is it the need, or is it just like, hey, this guy's really good, we want to take him? And I think that's what's going to be interesting with that draft board that the Colts have along with other teams. I mean, especially right now, Teddy Bridgewater and with the Broncos. It's all these drafts that are taking place as we lead up into all these trades that are taking place. I'm wondering how that's going to impact it. But I think you're right. I agree with you. I don't think you take another receiver other than any of those three if they're still available.
All right. Well, the quarterbacks, and this doesn't have an effect on the Colts, although I was told that they did like Justin Fields a great deal, but we're expecting most of those guys, certainly those guys, being off the board by then. And I'm sure you've heard the Aaron Rodgers news.
Yeah.
Is there any way that Aaron Rodgers stuff affects tonight's draft? Because I guess I don't see it because they drafted Jordan Love, Charles, a year ago to take over anyway. And I know we're talking about, arguably the best to certainly do it at that position right now. And it's been an absolute blank show between organizationally the Packers and Aaron Rodgers, as it seems. Is there any way you think that they act on what was reported today within the parameters of this draft tonight?
Yeah, I don't know. I find that hard, too. It just sounds like a lot of hot air. I mean, I know he's not completely happy with the organization, but it seems like he likes the head coach, and he and the head coach have, developed a nice relationship, but it seems more front office related. And I don't know. I agree with you. I can't see where the Colts would, not so much with Aaron Rodgers, I don't see where the Colts take a quarterback in the first round. Now, stranger things have happened, and I'll tell you, one guy that's moved up the draft board has been Davis Mills from Stanford, which has somewhat surprised me, but I think he's had a really good, postseason move. And Kellen Mond is another name that you've heard a lot about in this leading up to the draft.
Yeah, Kellen Mond is the guy that we talked about a couple of days ago because I think it was Pro Football Focus, Charles, that had the Colts selecting them at number 54 overall. And I can't – first of all, I can't buy that because, you have Carson Wentz. They drafted Jalen Hurts in Philly last year, and some would suggest that didn't go over well with Wentz, and then everybody was dinged up, and he had the absolute worst year of his career. And I wouldn't think that they would draft, just like Philly did a year ago with Wentz in mind right there. But since we haven't talked about Carson Wentz with you, this is certainly going to be a project because he was absolutely awful a year ago. Do you think this is the right move, and can he – have a rebirth of his game in Indy, certainly to the level in which we saw before he was injured in that Eagles Super Bowl season of 3 or so years ago? Do you think we see that here?
I think everything is set up for him. He's got the coach that was his offensive coordinator when he was there. You got a better offensive line. It seems like more favorability with the organization. Now, if he doesn't perform or he's lost his fastball and the thing with Carson, he's got to get out of trying to run over people and let let your short passes become long runs. Get down when you need to. I think he took way too many hits at times with Philly, and sometimes they didn't protect him. So I think there's a little bit of both. But I think if he can do that, all things are set up for him to have success. But mentally, will that allow him to prosper? And that's the thing I don't know. We won't know until we see him play. And I'm not talking about preseason. I'm talking about live games where he really is in a situation where we have to see how he reacts when he's able to scramble out. Does he get down and live to see another day? Does he get the ball off and check it down like he should when he got away from some of that? And I think Frank is smart enough, and, Frank's got a lot of experience coaching quarterbacks, that he'll have him mentally prepared. It's now up to the quarterback to execute it when he gets on the field.
Yeah, and I know that's what people are counting on, especially the quick rhythm type of passing and the game that Frank Reich brings to the table here. But it'd be certainly interesting. And you're looking, Charles, at a Colts team, as we've talked about too, that stay the same. I mean, they're basically running back a lot of what they had a year ago. And I think what people tend to forget around here, Charles, is they won 11 games. They got into the postseason, lost in Buffalo in a good game. But Phillip Rivers at quarterback, even at the age of 38, put up some really good numbers. And it may be hard-pressed for Carson Wentz to put up those type of numbers offensively in 2021. Because, I mean, Rivers, when you look at him, raw numbers, was pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. I think he played better than I anticipated, and he showed some things. I mean, when you're a veteran like that, and you've been in a lot of battles, you tend to know how to play the game. But I think the one thing with him that was impressive is just how he was able to get those guys to rally around him in such a short period of time. And I think part of it is the fiery nature that he has. And I thought that was good. And I think, to your point, now that you see you can do that with that group of guys that you have, can Carson now be the same kind of leader? The personalities are different, so I don't expect that. But I just mean, no matter what your personality is, can you get other people to follow you? And can you get them to hone in like Phillip Rivers was able to do? And I think that's going to be the critical piece as well. Because just like you said that, the guys that are coming back will say, hey, this is how Phillip did it. What you want to hear them saying is, hey, Carson is really doing a nice job. We miss Phil, but this dude right here is our leader. And that's something you can't just make happen. It has to happen organically. And I think we've seen enough ball to know that when it's going well, it goes well, and you can't always put your finger on it. But that's the part that's going to be the most interesting thing to see, if Carson has that ability to get people to say, hey, he's our guy. And it has to come from some of those leaders on the offense and also the leaders on the defense to feel really comfortable that they can go in the battle and think that he's going to lead them to the next level.
Hey, Charles, one final quick thing here. Let's just suggest now for our conversation, the Colts do draft at 21. Logically to you, what is going to be, who do you think position-wise slides to them? Is it more the edge rusher or more the tackle, or might there be a wide receiver? What do you think is more logical to you in a need position for the Colts, or even cornerback for that matter? Who's more likely, what position is more likely to slide to them to keep them drafting at 21 tonight?
Yeah, I think the tackle piece makes the most sense. You can't ever pass up really good guys, and I think we talked about Christian Darrisaw earlier, right? I think from Virginia Tech, he would be a guy that if he, just like I said, if there's so much enamored with skill guys this year and he kind of falls through the cracks, that could be a pick right there if the Colts see that they would seize the opportunity, either that or an edge rusher. And I think that's why Jalen Phillips kind of sits in that slot. And maybe the Colts see that him being on a defense like they have now, where they have guys that can really help them, where you have folks that can come and teach them how to play with leverage and play lower, then I think it's going to either be an edge rusher or offensive lineman.
Hey, it is always good to talk with you, too. Should be an interesting draft, and I guess, and who knows the effect of it, but at least conversationally, Aaron Rodgers and this stuff has thrown a wrinkle into it, if nothing else, right, conversationally.
Hey, we always see this with the draft, right? There's always something that comes out of left field, which I think makes it the most exciting thing, and we haven't had football in a while. So, we have FCS, which has been good. It's been good to watch football in the spring. But, man, people are ready in Cleveland and all across the country to watch this draft tonight.
You got it. Hey, I appreciate you more than you know, and whomever they draft, we'll probably catch up with you and get your thoughts on having watched them in the past, what you think about it, Charles. I appreciate you.
Okay, man. You have a good one. Thank you.
Charles Arbuckle, Sirius XM Radio, with us per usual on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. The Dugout Bar, that's our location, Virginia and College. I got your chance, courtesy of Coors Light, to win a pair of tickets tonight to see the Nets and the Pacers at Bankers Life Fieldhouse. So we got a pair of tickets to give away before I bail out of here. Mike Chappell coming up at the top of the hour. Of course, the Colts roll out at number 21 tonight with their selection. If they do end up selecting at number 21, you're going to hear it. 93 WIBC has voice of the Colts, Matt Taylor, former offensive lineman Joe Wrights, former coach Rick Venturi, and former NFL general manager Jeff Diamond, all a part of their coverage. They will start at 7 and then lead right up through the Colts in what they do at number 21. Now, right here, we'll have the Pacer game for you, but then when the Pacer postgame show is complete, the fan here will join into that coverage of the NFL draft with 93 WIBC. Big news of the day is that wrinkle thrown in courtesy of Adam Schefter, now Jay Glazer and Trey Wingo, all pointing the finger at Rodgers wanting out of Green Bay. And at least from their tweeting standpoint, they will frame this up as there's no way he's going to be back in Green Bay. I guess we shall see, and if there is any effect whatsoever on this draft tonight, I'm doubting it, but if there is, again, we shall see. All right, your calls at 239-1070, emails, JMV at 1070thefan.com. We're on Twitter at JMV1070 and Inside the Lounge on YouTube Live, even in my studio absence with 93.5, 107.5 at 1070 The Fan.
Hammer here for Indy's hometown sportsbook, Bet Rivers. They have updated the app, so go to your app store and download Bet Rivers Indiana. If you had the app previously, make sure it's up to date. If you are an IndyCar fan, know that you can bet on the IndyCar races at Bet Rivers. That's in addition to Major League Baseball, the NBA, the NHL, and more. Download Bet Rivers Indiana today. Must be 21 and over, a resident of Indiana, and if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Siri, read me that text.
Sorry, I can't complete your request.
You want me to read that?
No, I got it.
Construction zone.
I see it.
Watch it.
Oh.
Oh my God. You're gonna hit him!
Oh, fuck!
When driving in a construction zone, be smart, be alert, be in the zone.
This is Ray Hobbs, business manager of Labor's Local 741. Everyone deserves a safe place to work. Do your part in the cone zone. Slow down, open your eyes, pay attention.
A message from Indiana's District Council of Laborers International Union of North America and affiliated locals.
Hey, John here for Connecticut. Okay, we all know about the great water of Connecticut, but what if you would like to make a career path change? Would you like some great pay? Would you like incredible benefits? And working with Joe, John, and Dennis for a great company, that's Connecticut Water Systems. Service technician positions, multiple in fact, are now available with Connecticut. Again, are you good with tools? Can you figure problems out quickly? And would you like a career change with great benefits and fantastic pay as well? Connecticut Water could be for you as a service technician. Here's what I want you to do. You can find out more on any of their level of social media. But if you really want this career change and go with a great company of Connecticut, log on right now and find out more. ConnecticutIndy.com.
Hi, this is Ryan Newman, NASCAR Cup Series driver and champion for a great cause, driven to save lives and organ donation. Look, what I do is dangerous, and nobody's invincible, but we can all do something incredible to save the lives of others. That's why I want you to take a moment and register yourself as an organ donor, like me, at driventosavelives.org. You might just become somebody's real hero.
During a normal year, moms do it all. They're superhuman. But this year, moms took on so much more. They kept us safe, kept our hopes up, and kept everyone going. And that's on top of all the other superhuman mom stuff. So this Mother's Day, shop Hellsberg Diamonds and make Mother's Day extra special for her. We have a large selection of meaningful gifts for every budget, so our associates can help you find the perfect gift to show how much you truly appreciate her. Visit your local Hellsberg store or hellsberg.com. Don't forget your special mom this year, Sunday, May 9th.
Denny Smith for my friends at Sundown Gardens. Spring has sprung and it's go time. Stop and find the tree that's right for your yard this year. Many gorgeous oaks, maples, and evergreens are now in stock. Ornamental trees like Japanese maples, hydrangea trees, and weeping redbuds are available too. The shrub lot is full of blooming and evergreen shrubs. Need privacy? See Sundown's large selection of arborvitae, a great solution for screening. Don't forget bagged or bulk mulch for your garden beds. Sundown Gardens, 186th Street and Spring Mill Road. SundownGardens.com.
It's a great week to stop into Payless Liquors to get ready for the Kentucky Derby. Make your own mint juleps with Jim Beam. The 1.75 liter, the white label, is only $26.99. Evan Williams 175s, the black label, is only $21.99. You can get your Dewar Scotch white label, $29.99. And Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers in Cranberry Lemonade and Tropical, only $2.49 a piece, or the 8-packs, $18.49. This is at all 26 Payless Liquor locations, open 7 days a week, online at PaylessLiquors.com. Don't pay more, get more, and pay less at Payless Liquors.
JMV here for LD Smith Plumbing. Have you already called out a plumber only to be unimpressed with their knowledge and skill? Or maybe shocked about pricing? Then call my guy Lance at LD Smith Plumbing for a free second opinion. I promise I've used them. They are awesome. LD Smith Plumbing is a local company that can tackle any issue, big or small, for you. Online, ldsmithplumbing.com or 317-284-9526. 317-284-9526. Must provide competitor invoice for free second opinion. Details at ldsmithplumbing.com.
Sports Center updates on the Fan are brought to you by Big O Tires. Spring savings are here. Buy 3, get 1 free on select sets of Aspen, Mesa, and Nito tires now through May 2nd. Big O Tires, the team you trust.
Find the best odds in the country only on the free PropSwap app. Kevin Bowen here. You buy directly from other sports bettors who are ready to cash out. Join the rest of us and go to PropSwap.com right now.
Jeff Bassett here with Bassett Services. We are here to take care of you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We may doze, but we never close.
Bassett is your trusted local independent American Standard Air dealer.
The Ride with JMV.
My vision is to take this team as the first franchise to the Saturn Football League and play against 8-foot gargoyles that run 3/8 speed.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Hey, thank you, Tyler from St. Elmo, bringing the stuff down here, man. He's buying drinks for folks here. I love that. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Here with Coors Light and your opportunity to win tickets to go see the Nets and the Pacers coming up later on tonight at Bankers Life Fieldhouse. Get signed up. We'll give those away coming up at 6 o'clock. At the Dugout, we're at Virginia and College. Big news today prior to the draft. Aaron Rodgers, this is according to Pro Football Talk. Aaron Rodgers wanted the Packers to accept the 49ers trade offer. The 3 teams were reportedly he would like to land because he wants out of Green Bay would be the Niners, the Broncos, and the Raiders. And Pro Football Talk goes even further in suggesting that the Raiders, Kyle, is this accurate? And John Gruden and Mike Mayock would give away their entire draft this weekend for Aaron Rodgers. Is that accurate?
Oh, they haven't said
the entire draft.
But I would imagine John Gruden would give up his entire draft for a guy like Rodgers.
All right, so let's just say that's something that Florio added in. But yeah, in yesterday, the Broncos traded for Teddy Bridgewater, which means nothing if Aaron Rodgers really is on the cusp of being dealt, which I don't buy, but we shall see. It seems like that there's a lot of Aaron Rodgers side of things, pressure to hopefully get the Packers to do something right now, and we shall see if that happens coming up later on tonight. All right, at JMV 1070 on Twitter, if you guys want to chime in with anything, certainly love to hear about it. From David, you knew you were going to get this. Wentz, 21st pick in next year's first for Rodgers. Next year's first transition is probably already going to be gone anyway. Now, listen, it's not going to happen here. I'm skeptical about if it's going to happen at all, but we'll see. I mean, it certainly could add some fun into this draft coming up later on tonight. This is courtesy of our friend Chris Wright. So I guess we're getting Jacket Off trade night stuff going on from Chris. How about this? Aaron Rodgers to the Niners, Garoppolo to the Patriots, number 3, and the 15 picks to the Packers. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I tell you, it does. It adds a little bit more flavor to tonight, but we'll see if something like that ends up happening. Steve in San Antonio, Texas writes this. All right, Kansas City, Buffalo, Tampa Bay, the only teams that would not trade for Aaron Rodgers right now. Everyone else would, including Seattle and Houston. Probably right. Yeah, I'm going to give my pick coming up in just a little bit. JMV, Rodgers to Jeopardy for Ken Jennings. Rodgers is pretty good at doing that. But, man, has he stirred some stuff up tonight. There's nothing wrong with that. This is more stirrage than what we got. How many years ago was it with Laramie Tunsil and the tweeted picture of him with the gas mask bong on his face? We thought that was interesting. This is next-level stuff right here. Bart Digler chimes in. JMV, the Colts taking a defensive secondary playmaker, wide receiver at 21. And Walker Little at 54. I think I would buy you Walker Little at 54. But the more and more I thought about this, and then just talking to Charles Arbuckle, I don't know what Kyle thinks back at the studio, but I think I've got somebody pegged here. Azeez Ojulari at 21. What do you think, Kyle?
He's got all the traits that Chris Ballard likes. He has the motor. He can rush the passer, and he's good against the run. I think it's a fit.
If there's no Kwity Paye type of slide for an edge rusher.
He and Kwity Paye are pretty similar. I think Paye is probably better, but I would be surprised if he's there at 21.
All right, so that's – and we'll, at the end of the show, make it official, but I think that's where we're going to go at number 21 if the Colts end up drafting number 21. 239-10-7. You can chime in right now, and Frank is up next. Hello, Frank. How are you?
Yes, JMV. I tend to believe the Rodgers because I know he's wanting to get out to the West Coast to be able to film Jeopardy on his day off.
So how many do they do in one day? Do you know? I'm not privy to that information. Do they do 5 in one day?
Yes,
do
I think they
all
can
5
do
in
all
one
5.
day?
They do 3. I've actually been to a Jeopardy taping. They do 3 in one day. They do them about 2 days a week.
Oh, okay.
3 in one day and 2 days a week. So he kind of wants to do that. That'd go over interesting. Hey, Kyle, how was that taping, by the way?
It was really cool. I mean, Alex Trebek, he talks to the audience. Well, he did talk to the audience in between games, and it's interesting to see how well and buttoned up they sort of have it, and they can do them pretty quick.
Hey, Frank, anything else?
I've always had one opinion about the Washington football team. I think they need to change. They need to change their mascot to a red potato so they can continue to be the Washington Redskins.
Okay. Frank, thank you. We should have just stayed right there with the Jeopardy thought. Trey Lance for the Washington football team. When they select, does he make it down to 14? Is that where they're selecting at 14 tonight? Any of these quarterbacks other than Mac Jones? You think Mac Jones makes it down to 14? I mean, I think in Washington football team 14. Yeah, I should have kept that thing at Jeopardy and just have been done with it right there. That was operator error by me, which sometimes happens, man. I mean, you can't have absolutely everything. So edge rusher is what I'm thinking about right now. JMV at 1070thefan.com is the email address. JMV, here's my issue with Ballard. He is always looking for these projects. Take a C+ and turn it into an A+. Why not just take a B+ or an A-, pay a premium, and then you're solid and don't have to sweat it? He's always looking for that deal when sometimes the premium is there for a reason. I may differ with you on a little bit of that statement, but there is some agreement there with me. And while everybody puts so much stock into the level of importance of this draft, and there's no doubt about it, to me, Everybody in the NFL talks about the greatness of Chris Ballard in a draft setting, all right? They need to start talking about Chris Ballard in finally getting that team together that can win a division or can win a playoff game outside of just one playoff game and no divisions. Now, granted, you could say, well, I mean, filling edge rusher and filling left tackle leads you down that path. Well, then okay. But that's where that needs to go. I mean, to me, even more important than this draft, and I think everybody has forgotten about it. And Jim Irsay reminded you of that last Wednesday. The most important aspect is what you're going to get from quarterback. It is the most important. I mean, even if you're looking at Tevy or Davenport, or even if you're thinking that you didn't get the edge rusher that you wanted, and then ultimately it's, you're Teray or whomever, right? The most important aspect, still even greater than this draft, is what you are going to get with your quarterback. Don't forget about that. All right, calls on the other side. Live from the dugout, Coors Light brings us to you. Got a pair of tickets to give away for the game later on tonight with the Nets and the Pacers. Live in the dugout, Virginia and College, 93.5, 107.5, and 1070 The Fan.
The savings are in full bloom on every new and pre-owned vehicle at Hubler. Spring into something new at all Hubler locations. Visit drivehubler.com.
Kids, tell your parents about Forum Credit Union's Sprout of the Month contest, where you could win $100 in a Sprout account. Details at 1075thefan.com.
Pat Sullivan here from Sullivan Hardware and Garden and Allisonville Home and Garden by Sullivan. Our stores are blooming with flowers, hanging baskets, bedding plants, perennials, annual containers, shrubs, trees, and much more. With so many colors and varieties, it's the best looking selection you'll find anywhere. Come see the difference. Why, you ask? Our plants are from top quality Midwest growers, many right here in Indianapolis. Check the specials on all of our patio furniture like all-weather wicker, Berlin Gardens poly, cast aluminum, teak, and more. You'll even get to choose your own custom cushions. We specialize in good quality, mid-priced patio furniture that's in stock in our 37,000 square foot warehouse, all priced at 30% off. See our large selection of grills, Weber, Traeger, and the Big Green Egg. Sullivan Hardware and Garden, 71st and Keystone, 49th and Penn, Cicero, and Allisonville Home and Garden by Sullivan.
This morning, Jen woke up, made 3 breakfasts, did 2 loads of laundry, and 1 conference call. But she also saved $25 because Jen uses a new innovation from Huntington called Money Scout. It analyzes Jen's checking account to find money that's not being used and moves it to her savings automatically. Learn more and enroll at huntington.com/moneyscout. Huntington. Welcome. Message and data rates may apply to text alerts. Money Scout is subject to eligibility, terms and conditions, and other account agreements. Member FDIC.
Hey, John here for Andy Moore, Buick GMC. That's 131st and State Road 37 in Fishers, and Eric Wilson has you covered. I say this time of year, it may end up being, and I don't know, I haven't run the numbers, but it may be the most popular time to get a new set of wheels. And I'm going to tell you what, talking to Eric Wilson and getting in gear with something new from GMC or Buick with the great deals they have right now is perfect timing on your behalf. I mean, so many offers. So many rides to choose from, like the GMC Acadia, $249 a month with nothing down. I'm going to tell you this. You are going to love that vehicle. Absolutely love it. And for that price, why not? Hey, tell Eric that I sent you. And if it's the Acadia, anything else as far as the roster is concerned with GMC or Buick, you're going to find what you're looking for at the best price. Only one place. Andy Moore Buick GMC. That's 131st and State Road 37 in Fishers.
BetRivers Sportsbook has supercharged its app for Apple phones. And you can download the update today from the iOS App Store. Loaded with performance improvements, the new BetRivers iOS app makes placing your bets a seamless experience. Bet with a winner. Download the new BetRivers app from the iOS App Store or update your app today. Must be 21 or over to play. Playable only in Indiana. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Hey,
Hey, it's Rob Belushi at Bill Estes Ford in Brownsburg. Brian, the sun is out. What's with the raincoat?
Last spring taught me it's always good to be prepared.
This spring, things are looking a lot different, and we're giving our customers a great path forward with $8,000 off our favorite new cars. $8,000 off the Escape, $8,000 off the Fusion, $8,000 off the EcoSport.
It's raining deals. Told you, Rob.
I guess you're right. Make your money and your family go further with a car that is perfect for the days ahead, rain or shine. Brian, why the umbrella now?
Because when it rains, it pours, and another deal's blowing in. The new F-150 is up to $15,000 off.
Everyone will be happy about these April showers. Get a car you love with little or no money down, and we have the biggest selection of pre-owned vehicles, 45 under $13,000. Also offer 99% credit approval.
Hurry, Rob, get your raincoat. These deals are flooding the store with customers.
If you've been saving for a rainy day, right now is our deal downpour. New Escapes, Fusions, and EcoSports are all $8,000 off. New F-150s are up to $15,000 off. Your key is waiting at Bill Estes Ford in Brownsburg.
We buy any car. We buy any car. We buy any car. Any.
Did you know trading in your car at a dealer could cost you money? A recent study found consumers who trade in their car pay an average of $990 more. So don't trade in. Sell it to We Buy Any Car. Learn more and get your free online valuation now at WeBuyAnyCar.com.
Find out how much your car's worth at We Buy Any Car.
And now, a telemedicine appointment without AT&T Business Fiber.
I don't know. Hey, Doc, so, what's the prognosis?
Well, based on your chart, it looks like you have...
Wait, what was that?
Sorry, I was just saying...
Doc, you're glitching. Must be slow upload speeds.
Yeah, sorry. I just wish I'd known the difference between upload and download speeds before I got my business internet. Anyway, I'm sorry, what were we talking about?
My leg.
Oh, right. It's fine, except for a small...
Wait, except for what?
Terrible.
Is your small business suffering from slow upload speeds? Upgrade your business to AT&T Business Fiber for superior reliability and speed at our lowest price ever. There's no annual term commitment and no bundle required. Limited availability in select areas. Visit att.com/businessfast or call 844-661-FAST now.
A reading from the Golden Oak Lending Book of Mortgage Lingo.
What is a no-charge appraisal? It's never asking for a credit card or charging for a home appraisal if we can't close your loan.
No risk on refinancing, but I live for danger.
With our rates at a low 2.25%, refinancing with Golden Oak is anything but risky business. Get started today at GoldenOakLending.com.
NMLS 114937, 2.25% fixed, 3.195% APR. FHA 15-year mortgage with 20% equity and approved credit.
Join me tomorrow. Tonight is the Colts draft, and we are certainly going to talk about you. What else it is? It's Derby weekend. Vince going to join. We're going to win some money and talk Colts draft. Join me tomorrow.
The Ride with JMV.
Well, not really. I felt it on my leg. Come on, I don't want to see it.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Hey, welcome back. We're at the dugout. We are here with Coors Light. Thank you very much. We got Nets Pacers tickets to give away, a pair. My man Billy says Kwity Paye if he slides. I would agree with Kwity Paye if he slides. Ojulari is the guy I'm going with because I don't think Kwity Paye is going to slide. So if they pick at 21, that's who I'm going to go with right here. Shout out to Tyler and St. Elmo for bringing down the cocktail, too. Way to go. Appreciate that. Jimmy is here, hoping he can go to the game tonight. Billy's here, hoping he can go to the game tonight, which is really good as well. On Twitter, at JMV1070, inside the lounge on YouTube Live, where you can see an empty chair if you want to back in studio with Kyle right now. 239-1070 is the number. And Andy is up next. Hello, Andy. Welcome to the show.
Hey, JMV. It's draft day. Great day. We're all
yes, it is.
In Colts Nation. Just a couple things. What do you think about I'll talk about Rodgers here in a minute, but what do you think about this? Stepping back maybe a few picks, getting a third-round draft pick, drafting the tackle from North Dakota State because they say he may need like a year or two, and then going out and signing Eric Fisher. He should be ready half a year. You've got Tevy, who started with San Diego. Have him kind of work beginning and part of the year. Fisher come in, finish it, give him a 2-year deal, team-friendly 2-year deal. And then, hey, if he does great and he's back to his form, we've now got another tackle we can punt, we can move.
Well, I mean, I think you might be able to get Redunce in what round? He might slide to 54, right?
Yeah.
So you wouldn't have to trade back for that. And the Fisher thing is interesting, and even with the pass connection with Ballard, and everybody always goes back to connections and stuff. I think that would be like an oh crap, nothing is working type of deal right there. You know what I mean? If you bring him in, oh crap, these two guys aren't working. Oh crap, the guy that we draft isn't working. And there may be some sort of option there too, if they don't like anything that they have to start the season. I mean, maybe all of a sudden Nelson becomes an option again. I know people cringe at that may ultimately be the case. But I will say this, it wouldn't surprise me at 54 if they go to edge rusher at 21 and just take that draft at 21 and don't slide back, that at 54 they go after a left tackle. That part would not surprise me.
Yeah, and I think you've now accomplished your two big needs, and you can start building that depth of linebacker, tight end, get yourself another safety, another corner. Just try to build the depth of this team. Just kind of what Ballard does best is finding those guys who work well in the organization.
So your thought is they're not going to draft at 21, they're going to trade back?
I think I could see them trading back, maybe try to pick up a third. Even if it's just going back a few spots, 26, 27, maybe around the Ravens spot, just to get that third-round pick, because there's a possibility that one of those edge rushers could drop down, because you're going to see teams moving up to get those quarterbacks and those playmakers. So those positions of the edge positions are going to probably slide down through the draft.
Yeah. Hey, thank you for the call, Andy. I appreciate it. I mean, other than Quiddy Pay, I don't know, who it might be. And thank you for the call, who might be sliding down there. And I mentioned Ojulari out of Georgia, maybe a dude that would be there at 21 in the first place. But I can definitely see waiting on 54. But, again, I'll double back to what we talked about with Rick Venturi on Monday. His issue is with this, that if you draft at 54 left tackle, that is not going to be a complete plug-and-play, as you might find if you go a Darisaw or a Vera Tucker, or I think even a Jenkins he brought up in round number 1 or round 21. Thank you, Andy, for the call. Robert is up next. Hello, Robert. How are you?
Hey, great. Great show, guys. Hey, my question is, AC's been talking about retiring, and also he's been injured for the last 2 years. How come Ballard hadn't already drafted a left tackle to take his place? Learn from AC.
Thank you, Robert, for the call. Anthony Costanzo has been retired and is retired, certainly. Why Ballard hasn't addressed that is because he's been playing. And because he had another year where they thought he was going to play, and he decided to go ahead and bail out. That's why. Now, I'll go a little bit further and pull you out of this, and thank you for the call, Robert, is that we didn't think that they addressed backup O-line, and especially backup left tackle last offseason in a way that they should have. And certainly they didn't, because you saw LaRaven Clark before he got injured and how he looked. And the fact that arguably outside of Costanzo, the best left tackle you saw as a backup was the guy that was like teaching class in Michigan up until that point, in Jared Valdir. That tells you all you need to know. So I think we all agree that they didn't take that seriously, but they thought that they were going to squeeze another year out, and now they're not left with that option. So their option is take one at 21. Their option is trade back and take one at some other spot, or take one at 54. Or if you want to move over Nelson from left guard to left tackle, some have suggested Braden Smith from right tackle to left tackle. To me, none of that's going to happen. To me, they're going to find their future left tackle in this draft. All right, quick break and we'll return. We are live. I'm telling you, sometimes. We're at the dugout, Virginia in college. Mike Chappell is going to join us on the other side, get his thoughts. I think he is a trade back guy for the Colts. We'll get to that. Somebody's going to go see the Nets and the Pacers, courtesy of Coors Light, coming up later on tonight as well. 93.5, 107.5, and 1070 The Fan.
Sports with Dan Dakich.
Sean Salisbury, you get to a certain level and you're like, all right, now we got to beat the best teams. And how do we do that? In the way of scoring.
Yeah, are we trying to put a banner on the wall
right.
or a plaque that says we got to the playoffs?
Right.
I understand if you're Jacksonville, if you go to the playoffs this year, it's an accomplishment. But Kansas City and Indianapolis and Green Bay, they're not thinking, hey, man, we got there. Okay, but that's not the goal for these teams.
Dan Dakich, weekdays noon to 3 on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Baptist Heating and Air really wants to help people be comfortable. If you've received a repair quote and want a free second opinion, give us a call. 782-1900.
Baptist is your trusted local independent American Standard Air dealer.
It's time to put all those mock drafts you've looked at to good use. NFL Draft Week is here, people, and PropSwap is cooking with props to buy or sell. How about over-under 5.5 quarterbacks to be taken in round 1 on Thursday night? What about Kyle Pitts, the Florida tight end, as the first non-quarterback to come off the board? For the Big Ten fans out there, Justin Fields to be drafted in the top 10? All those props right now are available on PropSwap.com. PropSwap and the NFL Draft were made for each other. Having some early draft action is the perfect way to pass the time until your Colts come on the clock at number 21 overall. Remember, PropSwap is your Indiana home to buy and sell props of all sports. It's the eBay for sports props. The odds on PropSwap are the best in the country. If you're not buying and selling on PropSwap, you are missing out. On average, sellers are making $500 a month. So download the PropSwap app or head to PropSwap.com today. PropSwap, the #1 app to buy and sell sports bets.
A reading from the Golden Oak Lending Book of Mortgage Lingo.
What is a cash-out refi? It's using the equity in your home to pay off high-interest credit cards.
Paid it off! Yes!
I'm James Hawkins, president of Golden Oak Lending. With mortgage rates at a low 2.25%, you can save hundreds each month and skip your next 2 payments. You'll pay nothing out of pocket, and we never charge for a home appraisal if we can't close your loan. And remember, our local lending experts speak mortgage and love translating for our customers. Eliminating debt means putting your dreams back on the table today.
Updated bathroom?
Updated bathroom and a pool table?
Don't push it, Rick.
Get started with our fast and easy zipline tool at goldenoaklending.com.
NMLS 114937, 2.25% fixed, 3.195% APR. FHA 15-year mortgage with 20% equity and approved credit.
When construction companies pay their workers cash under the table, Hoosiers lose out. By not paying their fair share, these companies are stealing over $405 million a year from Hoosiers. Do you know what $405 million a year could do for your community?
8,741 state troopers, 7,937 teachers, 325 miles of resurfaced highways, 112 miles of expanded highways, 783 small business loans, 9,722 new jobs.
That's a whole lot of losses. Visit indianacip.com/tax fraud to learn how you can take a stand.
You've undoubtedly heard of the calm before the storm. Well, Michaelis is the calm after the storm. More than 3 decades of restoring damage from wind, rain, and hail. They've got your back, not to mention your front, side, and roof. It's why home and business owners beat a path to Michaelis' door, because it's always answered around the clock with welcome arms. Your port in the storm. From site security and tarping services to complete restoration work, they can handle anything Mother Nature throws your way. Seasoned and trustworthy pros who are never deterred by a little wind and rain, or a motherload of it for that matter. Water, storms, fire, and foundations. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. Call 844-FIX-INDY. Make it Michaelis.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
WFNI, WIBC, HD2, W298BB, WIBC, HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis.
Who will the Colts select in the first round of the NFL Draft? Coverage tonight at 7 on 93 WIBC. The Ride with JMV.
Say, man, you got a joint? No, not on me, man. It'd be a lot cooler if you did.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Thank you for joining us. Virginia and College Coors Light. Got your chance at Nets Pacers tickets. Tonight's game at Bankers Life Fieldhouse. Got tickets for you. Got a pair, so be ready for that coming up in a bit. Shout out to my man Nick Baxter, who's the owner here. Got Tyler from St. Elmo down here with some stuff for everybody here in the place, too, which is always good. It is an interesting day to say the least. You got the Aaron Rodgers stuff that's going down. You got you got the Colts drafting at number 21. And I think the most popular choice on the board is trading back. And among those, with that thought in mind from CBS 4 and Fox 59, Mike Chappell joins us. So is this obvious, a trade back situation we're going to see for the Colts tonight at 21, in your opinion?
I don't know if obvious, but likely, perhaps. I just think from talking to people, and I listened to Rick Venturi the other day, and he and I have been texting back and forth, and it just seems like that what they get at 21, they can get at 26 or 28, or maybe even the top of the second round. So I just think that's maybe what they do. Maybe somebody falls to them, and then you don't trade back. You don't trade back to get another pick and pass up a player you really, really like. What's kind of crazy, and here we are in Indy, we're worrying about who our left tackle is going to be. Packers wondering who their quarterback's going to be. So it's incredible how things change. And I'm telling you, very few things in the NFL are ever done just out of the blue. This is calculated on how this all came out today. It just is. I mean, there's not a chance that Aaron Rodgers hasn't sort of put the screws to the Packers. This just didn't leak out today from left field. So, the question is, what can the Packers do to alleviate this, if anything? And how far is Rodgers willing to go to show how PO'd he is with the Packers?
Well, let's go here. All right. I mean, you're not going to get anywhere near value if you have to snap and make some sort of deal, as people talk about right now. You could have him, you could put the screws to him and, say, all right, final year, your deal, you're not coming back. You ultimately don't get anything for him. Does he sit out the entire year? I mean, is he that pissed with it? I mean, what would you end up doing? Is something better than nothing? Do you wait a little bit longer or into the summer to try to do something and not try to do it right now? I mean, I think that's the interesting aspect of it. I've kind of thought that there's no way there's going to be anything happening tonight, but if it does, I mean, there could be a slide effect down the line, and we'll see. I don't see anything going down tonight, though.
Yeah, and I guess the question is, and it's really an interesting question because everybody always talks long-term franchise quarterback, and I understand it when you have a Peyton Manning or a Brady and Rodgers when he was younger. You're looking at these 10, 12-year stretches. I've just gotten to be where, in the NFL, long-term is like 4 years. It really is, because rosters change and there's guys you can't re-sign and all this. And unless you get that quarterback who's just that much better, and there are a handful of them, and Rodgers is one, has been one. But he's 37. If you're a team that just needs a quarterback or wants that level, would you be willing to sell your future for probably 4 years of Aaron Rodgers? I guess I would. I mean, as long as you're not gutting your team. But say any more 4 years, you give me let's look at what the Denver Broncos did with Peyton Manning. I mean, that's when they've been good post John Elway, is when they had Peyton Manning. So that 4 year stretch, most owners would do it. I really believe they would do it because, again, do it in 4 years, and then you'll worry about post Rodgers after 4 years or so. So it would be really, really interesting to see what a team would be willing to give up to get the reigning MVP and a guy who's still playing at the top of his game. Do I think it's going to happen tonight? Probably not, because like you said, I mean, to just do it out of desperation, you probably wouldn't get what you want out of it. But if internally the Packers believe that this guy's ready to go host Jeopardy for the rest of his career, you know, maybe they decide to move on. But you know, you better be pretty doggone sure about the guy you got waiting. You know, that hasn't played much of at all, that you went up and got last year. So it's just crazy how things come up in the NFL that, you know, there have been rumblings that he wasn't happy, and, you know, we'll see what the future holds and all that kind of stuff. But this takes it to 10 different levels. And all of a sudden, whether the Colts are going to move up or back is sort of really, really not that important, you know, league-wide if it ever was. But the NFL never fails to surprise me on how they catch the news, and it's just always something demanding attention in the NFL.
Hey, maybe the Packers just draft a wide receiver at the end of round number 1 tonight and try to make everything nice. Right?
Yeah, boy, it sounds like it's further along than that.
Yeah, it does.
Somebody's really interesting where somebody pointed out, you know, they've got an all-pro left guard, they've got an all-pro receiver, they've got a coach who's got a super record and all this. So it's not like that this is a quarterback playing with the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is a good team.
Hey, Mike, I want you to finish your thought on that in a second. I'm curious. Is this something now, because you mentioned the calculation that had to be involved from his side of things in this, is there any way that if you wanted to, you walk that back? I mean, could you go, on Pat McAfee and say, hey, that was a media thing and I had nothing to do with it. Let's just say if it wasn't working out to your standards, or let's just say all of a sudden there was a deal struck and there was an olive branch that, reached out and was grasped by the Rodgers side of things. Is there any way you can walk this back now, or because of the timing and the perceived calculation, can you not, I guess in this case, put that toothpaste back in the tube?
Well, I'm not saying they can't sort of not kiss and make up, but shake hands and make up, and he plays for him next year, and they grudgingly go on, stay together. But the only way that he could walk it back is once this came out, if for whatever reason it wasn't from him or his agent, which is crazy because there's too much detail involved that it's not from one of the two, or at least Rodgers signed up on it, he would have come out a half an hour after Schefter reported and said, "It's a baloney. That's not coming from me."
Yeah.
He could very easily have stamped it out, and they've not. So to think that this isn't coming directly from Aaron Rodgers' camp is ridiculous. It is. And on top of Schefter, Jay Glazer put it out there, and I tell you, no one's plugged in any more to players than Jay Glazer. Nobody. So this is beyond when there's smoke, there's fire. There's a raging brush fire in Green Bay right now, and how much is Rodgers willing to go to the mats? I mean, it seems like quite a bit, because to take it to this level at this time, again, it's just there's calculation there, and it was, to say it was planned, I guess planned, but this puts the screws to the Packers, and I'm not sure what they can do in the draft other than trading him. I'm not sure what they can do in the draft to appease him, because it seems like this is much more than that. So again, it's amazing how the last two off seasons have been so quarterback driven, whether it was Rivers last year with Luck, and then Brady, and now this year with Russell Wilson. All of a sudden, Deshaun Watson, no one's talking about him. Now there's a reason for it, obviously. The off-field stuff is very serious. But we've got until he signed his deal, Dak Prescott was out there. So it's amazing how major quarterbacks are making news. And one thing to remember is, I go back to remember Eli was drafted and he forced his way out of San Diego, and people kind of got on him. When a player has leverage, and it doesn't happen very often, when a player has leverage, he uses it. Very few players have the leverage of Aaron Rodgers. Now, how heavy he's going to lean on the Packers, I don't know. But there aren't too many players that can force an issue. And Aaron Rodgers is probably one of the few that can do it.
It's Mike Chappell of CBS 4 and Fox 59 on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. All right, give me a couple of, I say edge rusher and wide receiver to start with. A couple of positional slides. I guess left tackle could be as well. Those three positional slides you think might be one of the few reasons why we could still see the Colts actually draft at 21 tonight?
Yeah, I think so. And I just can't envision a move up. Let's say that Darashaw or one of those tackles is there at 18 or 19. You know, I think the Bears are right above the Colts, and they very well will take a tackle. They would really have to just be head over heels in favor of a tackle or any player to move up, because you've only got 6 picks, and moving up you're going to give up at least 1, maybe 2 to do that, or a future pick. So yeah, staying put, I guess. It just makes sense from, again, talking to Rick and kind of doing the research on other guys, that the player you get at 21 may be the same guy you get at, 5 spots lower. But yeah, and again, Rick keeps telling me, and you'll go crazy, happily, but maybe they take a receiver. This would be like, was it 01 when they needed help on defense and they took Reggie? Worked out pretty well.
Yeah, well, I mean, Jim brought that up last Wednesday, too. He said the reason why was because Jamar Fletcher, who they were going to draft defensively in the secondary, was off the board, and that's why they ended up taking Reggie.
Right, and that's where as much as people hate to hear, you take the best player, and I'm guessing Reggie was certainly the best player still on the board. And when you're down at 21, Ballard told us that, we think there's 5 or 6 difference makers, and we think that when we're on the clock at 21, their board is deep enough that there will be a player there that merits the pick. But again, if it's, the guy's 21, but you got guys at 23 or 24, then it makes sense to trade back if you find somebody that wants to move up. It does take 2 to make a trade. So I wouldn't be in favor, as much as you and I pound the drum for a receiver. The only reason I'm against it is that's like the third position that they need. They can get the best receiver in the draft, and if they don't somehow in the middle of May have a left tackle and an edge pass rusher who's not on the roster, then I have a problem with them, because I think those 2 positions are so.
Yeah, it's going to be Nelson.
So glaring. I don't know how
if they don't.
Helps you.
Yeah, Mike, if they don't, it's going to be Nelson, right? I mean, if they don't clearly address it tonight, it's going to be Nelson.
Yeah, that's probably true. If they don't get a tackle tonight or tomorrow, then they've talked themselves into moving Quentin Nelson, and maybe that works. I don't know. Again, I'm not in favor of it. I'm still waiting for my call from the Colts to ask my opinion, and it hasn't come. I just don't think you mess with the 4 guys you have. I just don't.
Mike, the other thing, I'm sorry to interrupt you, buddy. I am. No. The other thing, because I'll forget about it if I don't ask you right now. The other thing I was thinking about in all this, because you brought up wide receiver, and I think the only way they draft a wide receiver at 21 is if one of the trio of elite level wide receiver slide. And in this case, I guess it's Dante Smith that a lot of people think may end up. But between Smith and Waddle and Chase, the likelihood of any of those guys sliding to 21, to me, is pretty much non-existent. That is the only way I think they end up drafting a wide receiver, because I think the next level of guys, whether you're talking about Moore or Bateman or Marshall or somebody like that, that's not intriguing. I think the only way they draft a wide receiver at 21 is if one of those elite level 3 that I mentioned previously end up getting there.
Well, I just can't. I agree. I don't see any way. Now, yeah, if one of those guys is there, of course, and it won't be Chase. It'll be one of the Alabama guys, and I just don't see it. I just don't see any way that those guys, the 2 Alabama guys, get that far down. The fact that the Smith is, what was he, 177? I tell you, when I was watching him play at Alabama, the guy he reminded me of was Marvin Harrison. Marvin wasn't very big either, He wasn't. I don't know if he was 177, but he's probably close to it. But that's not going to happen. And I'm kind of agree with you that I don't know that. No, Venturi disagrees. I think, or he thinks there's a couple of receivers that would be worth it at 21. And again, I guess I'd be okay with a receiver at 21 if the second round you get a left tackle, and then you sign Justin Houston. I can live with that because, again, I'm not enthralled with these pass rushers because everybody's got something wrong with them or questions about. And I think you can get a second-round left tackle. I really do, whether it's Cosme or Eckenberg or somebody, I think, or Leatherwood. I think you can get a tackle in the second round, maybe move up to get him. I don't know. But if that's your plan is receiver, left tackle, and then Justin Houston, that would be okay with me. Maybe I'm overselling bringing Justin Houston back. I prefer him over what's out there right now because at least I kind of like known. I kind of like things that I'm pretty sure of, and I'm a lot sure of Justin Houston being a good player next year than one of these guys pass rushers.
All right. Any possibility they wait to 54 to try to find their left tackle? And
yeah, I think so. That might be pushing it. That might be pushing it. But I've seen some mock drafts where Cosme and Leatherwood are there, or the kid from North Dakota State, Rendon, is that his name?
Yep.
Whether he goes there. The only issue I had with him, and I was talking with Rick about, is he played one game last year. I mean, one game. So that's a concern I got, but I think it's deep enough that they can find a guy. At 54 might be pushing it, but maybe not. There could be guys that they like that we just aren't, that people on the outside really aren't that hot on. So I just want this over with. There's so much speculation, and we're going to get some clarity in the next 2 days. Maybe not so much today as tomorrow with what they do today. Well, how do you build on that tomorrow in round 2? And, can you recoup the 3? And then that does give you more options. So I bet they get a decent receiver in round 3. I think this group's deep enough they might be able to do that. But it's just that's what's interesting about the draft and the Colts in particular is they've got their own plan, and we talked about it. And I just want to see how Ballard plays this out with his people because they've missed on some spots, but they've been pretty good. 27 of the 38 draft picks are on this team, and a lot of them are players. I mean, are cornerstone players. And they just, with what they didn't do in free agency, it really forces them to be right in the draft. And that's what we're going to find out in the next couple of days.
Mike Chappell of CBS 4 and Fox 59. He is on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline with us right now. Jim Irsay mentioned to me last week, cornerback. We talked about that last week. Is there any possibility, especially at 21 overall, or trading back to the end of round number 1, that they may go cornerback position?
Yeah, I mean, again, we've talked about when Jim Irsay just doesn't throw stuff out there.
He doesn't.
He just doesn't. So that was an indication that there has been discussion about a corner. And what I mentioned to you, maybe it was last week, is they've taken 2 first-round corners since they've been in Indy. And one of them was in '84 with Leonard Coleman and then Marlon Jackson. That's it. So it's not a position that they've prioritized up until now, but that's not going to steer Ballard one way or the other. They're going to do what they want to do. I just would, again, if you do that, then tell me how you're doing the other things. Again, it's the same thing as to take a receiver at 21. If you do that and then take the left tackle and then bring in Justin Houston, that's fine. And I would say the same thing with a corner. Then fine, get your left tackle and then, bring Justin Houston back, and then I'm fine with it. I'd probably rather have the receiver in that scenario, but you're probably more apt to get a better corner than you will a receiver at 21 in that scenario. But again, I go back to what we said. Jim Irsay just doesn't throw stuff out there without it having been discussed internally.
Yeah, I agree too. I think really, and everybody talks about Ballard being so open and honest, and I think he's open and honest with things that he's okay being open and honest about. Other things not so much, but I think Jim is about everything. Jim just if Jim feels like telling you, Jim's going to tell you.
Yeah, the only thing that I don't know if we talked about last week, but the only issue I had with our Zoom with Chris Ballard is how he was talking about having competition at left tackle. Remember, they signed the two veterans. So I don't want competition at left tackle. I want a left tackle.
Right.
And I'm not really crazy about banking on Kamoko Toure and Ben Banogu and Tyquan Lewis being the thrust of my pass rush. I hope they come through, and Toure has shown us some stuff. But that you cannot go into the season with those three guys being the spearhead of your pass rush, because you just don't know in any of them.
So I mean, you gotta come up with. I mean, to you saying that means that tonight and then really tomorrow we're talking about 21 and 54 should be easy then. And that wouldn't necessarily right. That wouldn't necessarily be your best player available. That is drafting for need.
Oh, that's what and I've always said I'd be a terrible GM because I'd be reaching. I need a left tackle. Well, this guy's only got a second round, grade. Well, I don't care. I need a left tackle. I would make so many mistakes because I would be so driven to fill a need. Hey, this receiver is so much better. Yeah, but I need a left. Can he play left tackle? Well, no. So that's why I give these guys credit, and I understand we all criticize and second guess and all that. I just know how bad I would be I'd be driven by need, and I'd be blinded to how much better a player might be than the guy I need. And that's how you make mistakes, and that's how GMs become former GMs.
There's no doubt about that right there. Mike Chappell of CBS 4 and Fox 59 via the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Before I let you go, all right, give me your magic thoughts. I said this a little bit earlier, too. I mean, we throw everything out there. About 97% of it's going to be inaccurate, but we may mention one name that magically appears on the line at 21. If they draft at 21, give me that name.
Well, I'm saying that they're trading back, but I'm going to take Eichenberg, the tackle from Notre Dame. Ballard and Reich were at Notre Dame's pro day, and they were up there for Quentin Nelson, and they fell in love with the guy. But now that's 21's too rich for Eichenberg. But I kind of think he's going to be their left tackle next year.
All right, so we'll see where you go with that. I have gone edge rusher Azeez Ojulari from Georgia. Is who I'm going with right here. So
and he's probably the better not probably. I'm sure he's the better rated player than Eichenberg. We've talked too. I wouldn't be surprised if they go pass rush early and get that. Eichenberg might even be there at 54, perhaps. So, we'll see how it goes. All the speculation ends shortly.
How much did they? Do you know if at all they looked at Walker Little of Stanford? Because it's funny. I mean, when you look at like especially Darisaw and Vera Tucker and even Jenkins, who predominantly was right tackle at Oklahoma State. These guys are all in the 6'4", 6'5" neighborhood. But, man, Little is big, I guess, for lack of better description. I mean, he's more of that 6'7", 6'8", 345 neighborhood type of left tackle. I don't know how much, if at all, they really did focus in on that dude.
Yeah, and that's the thing, again. All these mock draft guys and draft analysts, they do their work, and they really pour over these prospects. But you just don't know how that lines with the Colts. They do things on their own. They got their own ways. They got their own, variables that they're looking at. So there could be a guy that is sort of off the board by a lot of people, as certainly first round type. So I think it'd be fun to watch Chris Ballard react when people talk about these guys or what the coach should do. He probably laughs at most of it, because they're going to follow what they do. And, again, like I said, by and large, they've done pretty well with a couple of hiccups like everybody has. I don't know that they're going to pull some name out of the hat at 21 where people just are shocked. But again, I think they do things on their own, the way they do things. And I'm just interested. I'm at the point that I just want something done. Let the speculation get over with. Give us some names, and whether you're trading back or whatever, give us some clarity on what you're doing.
Hey, listen, I know tonight and this weekend's big, but those that have made the statement that it could be the biggest of Ballard's regime and, is the biggest night we've seen in a while, apparently forget about what they did to get Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is still the biggest deal so far.
That's where my
there's
mind
no comparison
the bigger thing was putting your chips in with Carson Wentz, and that's what they did. And even was it who we talked to recently? Was it Frank or someone? Maybe it was Jimmy. It was Jimmy, where he said, it's not about one guy, but what Carson Wentz does this year will determine what the Colts do. And
that's exactly right. Yes, that is all you need to know about that. Mike, I appreciate it, man, and we'll catch up next week and see how they did, according to all of us. All right?
I'm looking forward to it.
That's Mike Chappell of CBS 4 and Fox 59. Thank you, Mike, on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Ryan is in for Kyle right now, who is eating early dinner in preparation for the Nets and Pacer game tonight. Of course, we'll have a little Anything Goes coming up at the top of the hour and get you to the Pacer pregame show. But I do want to remind you we're at the Dugout. We're downtown, southeast side of downtown, Fletcher Place. We're at Virginia and College. And somebody here is going to win a pair of tickets to go to tonight's game. Tonight's game, got a pair of tickets to give away around 6 o'clock, courtesy of Coors Light at the Dugout. We are at Virginia and College. With Coors Lights, we got time for you on the other side, 239-1070. Night number 1 of the draft, and it's been interesting considering the wrinkle that the Aaron Rodgers camp threw in a little bit earlier as far as him wanting out of Green Bay. That and more with you coming up on the other side at 239-1070. 93.5, 107.5 at 1070 The Fan.
Need air conditioning service and looking for a local dealer you can trust in Hancock and surrounding counties, like Right Away Heating and Cooling? Find that independent American Standard Air dealer at IndyHomeComfort.com.
Today is nonstop. And suddenly, your checking account is overdrawn. But what if we gave you more time on that one? At Huntington, if you accidentally overdraw your account by $50 or less, we've put a $50 safety zone in place, so you won't be charged an overdraft fee. It's one more way we're looking out for you, so you can have time for what matters most. Huntington, welcome. $50 safety zone does not apply to returned items. Your account will be automatically closed if it remains negative for 60 days. Learn more at huntington.com/safety zone.
From the first pitch to the last out, Bet Rivers Sportsbook has all the bases covered. Bet Rivers has a massive number of baseball betting options on each game, including pre-game player props and live in-game betting every inning. Sign up now and get a free play match of 100% on your first deposit up to $250. Bet with a winner. Bet with Bet Rivers Sportsbook. Must be 21 or over to play. Playable only in Indiana. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Siri, read me that text.
Sorry, I can't complete your request.
You want me to read that?
No, I got it.
Construction zone.
I see it.
Watch it.
Oh.
Oh my God. You're gonna hit him!
Oh, fuck!
When driving in a construction zone, be smart, be alert, be in the zone.
This is Ward Daniels, business manager of Labor's Local 120. Everyone deserves a safe place to work. Do your part in the cone zone. Slow down, open your eyes, pay attention.
A message from Indiana's District Council of Laborers International Union of North America and affiliated locals.
Hey, John here for LD Smith Plumbing. That's Lance and his local team. And there's nobody better for your plumbing needs. 317-284-9526. I had Sean over to my place last week, got some things done with the clog in the kitchen sink, and installed a brand new garbage disposal. Listen, large or small emergency gigs Lance and his local team, they're always there for you. 317-284-9526. They are the best. And right now, if you're thinking about a new water heater, a tankless water heater could be yours. $300 off. Just mention my name to LD Smith Plumbing. Get that $300 off and get the energy efficiency and the money saver that a brand new tankless water heater can provide for you from LD Smith Plumbing. 317-284-9526. Online, ldsmithplumbing.com today.
Luke Bryan, proud to be right here tour. Friday night, August 20th, Ruoff Music Center. ACM's Entertainer of the Year, Luke Bryan live. With special guests, Dylan Scott, Runaway June, and DJ Rock. Pre-sale for City Card members now through Thursday at 10 p.m. Before the general public on sale Friday at 10 a.m. Get tickets at livenation.com.
Now more than ever, people want to know if there's anything they can do to help. And the answer is yes, at BioLife Plasma Services. Donating plasma at BioLife is something you can do right now. Something that really matters. Plasma is desperately needed to create medicines to help treat people with rare diseases. Diseases that only plasma can treat. So please, become a donor at BioLife Plasma. Visit biolifeplasma.com to learn more.
Sports with Dan Dakich.
Paul Kuharski, what's the pecking order in the AFC South?
I mean, I think it's the Titans and the Colts to slug it out. I'm surprised that the Colts didn't make one big free agency move to go along with the trade for Wentz, which seems like a sensible rehabilitation project. So we'll see how much the Colts continuity versus the Titans turnover shakes things up.
Dan Dakich, weekdays noon to 3 on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan. The Ride with JMV.
Ahoy, Ploy.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
All right, let us do some calls at 239-1070 coming up here in a second. Courtesy of Coors Light. Got to thank Nick and the gang here at the dugout here on Virginia and College for having us, too. We're going to give away those tickets coming up at the top of the hour. I also have a segment of Anything Goes for you coming up at the top of the hour. And when I'm on location and there's Coors Light or alcohol involved, it's always even that much better. So Anything Goes coming up at the top of the hour. We'll get you set for the Pacers matchup against the Brooklyn Nets. No Kyrie Irving coming up for the Nets later on tonight. We'll get you set for that. And the pregame show coming up at 6:30. But somebody's going to win some tickets courtesy of Coors Light to tonight's game. Charles Arbuckle, a little bit earlier from Sirius XM college football coverage, joined us to talk about tonight's draft and the Colts needs and, some of the players that maybe you don't know a great deal about, especially since his hard target is the SEC and the ACC. Really good info from Charles. And Mike Chappell, per usual, on a Thursday. As always, good. Podcast for each, 1075thefan.com. Matt Taylor's going to join us coming up tomorrow. Mike Wells going to join us coming up tomorrow. A busy show for you on a Friday. By the way, the Colts draft show, 93 WIBC. Matt Taylor, voice of the Colts. Rick Venturi, Joe Reitz, Jeff Diamond, the former NFL general manager. They join you beginning at 7. And our coverage will take place after the Pacer post-game show. So maybe around 21, or if the Colts trade back, somewhere in that neighborhood. So we'll have you covered coming up later on tonight after the Pacer game right here on 93.5, 107.5, and 1070 The Fan. 239-1070 is that number. It is Bill and Franklin up next.
Hey,
hello,
man.
Billy.
Easy,
how are
man.
you?
How you doing, John?
I'm Bill. Are you going to call in on Saturday night?
Oh, probably will.
Hey, Bill, think
Yeah,
about
buddy.
this as an idea. I've offered this up. They want me to perform some sort of Carb Day music show, right? And I have said, how about if I do an all-nighter? How about if I go in on a Saturday night before the race at 6 and then go all the way playing requests through the night until I join Tony Katz to do a pre-race show? How would that be?
You know, that would be a good idea. It's like Mike Surowitz used to do an all-night race party.
Yes. Yes, exactly. An all-night of music, and then me with the cigar-smoking scarf on WIBC every morning doing the pre-race show. How about
there
that?
You go, Jig John.
Yes.
Yeah, but on the draft, I would like to see Eichenberg get here from Notre Dame. But I got to tell you something. I just sit back and let Chris Ballard do the work. He is the Bill Pulliam when Bill was here.
Don't you think I need to be doing the work, though? Would you trust me if I were the one making the call on this? What do you think, Bill?
Yeah,
oh, yeah. Hell yes. Absolutely.
You betcha, buddy.
Hey, all right, call in on Saturday with your music request, all right?
I'll be there.
I got you, man. That's Bill and Franklin. All right, let's see here. What we got? Goga out tonight. Lamb out tonight. What else we got? Sabonis this is according to Jay Michael, did some stuff on the floor individually, but not fully. Sabonis also did weight room stuff. Oh, this is from yesterday, actually. What the hell am I looking at here? I'm looking at yesterday. Sabonis, is he still out tonight, too? Looks like both Goga and Lamb are, from what I see, too. And I saw where Kyrie Irving's not going to play later on tonight. Marcus, with that in mind, bring some Pacer conversation to us. What's up?
Hey, John, thanks for taking my call.
Got it.
You know, you've talked incessantly about how the Pacers refuse to tank and will never tank, and I'm on board for never tanking. But why does it always look so much like they're tanking?
Well, I think right now, with the way the team plays and certainly the lack of their front line dudes, they're in the suck. They're in the suck right now, and they can beat really suckier teams like Detroit and Orlando. But we saw against Portland the other night, Portland team that lost 5 consecutive. Now, granted, Portland last night actually put up a $130 again against Memphis in a win, but we saw against a better team. With this group right now, they have no chance. They just don't.
Yeah, I'm with you there, man. We need.
So yeah, that's just it's a tank.
In a big way.
It's like a tank or a slide by injury circumstance as it stands right now.
Yeah. Well, hey, I'm gonna hit you with a sir. I gotta go. Have a good day.
Yeah, that's been a long time coming right there, brother. There's no doubt about it. All right, what we got here? This is from Tony. Is there a safer bet in the world than the Nets -5 tonight against the Pacers? You would appear to be in very fantastic territory. Yeah, that's great. JMV, this is from Jamie. Only 26% of first-round wide receivers sign a second contract with same team that drafted them. It's better than 60% for O-linemen, per Greeny. Here's what I'm going to tell you, though. And this plays, and now certainly is playing, Jamie, a significant role. The wide receiver position, especially those veterans on the open free agent market, we have seen here recently a transition from teams, because you actually see these college wide receivers better set and better suited to come in immediately and produce. Therefore, you see teams that would rather take a chance on a rookie wide receiver performing right now than take a shot at paying an older free agent wide receiver a crap ton of money. They believe that the production is comparable and more favorable for them. So remember, and you still get that, certainly, but we talked about the running back position, which had just, the importance level of it is just, a shrinking set of circumstances. And you kind of see that now. There are certainly exceptions to the rule. You saw, T.Y. Hilton got paid to come back to the Colts. T.Y. Hilton was going to get paid to go to the Ravens. But most of it now, you see teams that feel that there are a large number of wide receivers. We saw the run on wide receivers a year ago, to an historic proportions. But a run on wide receivers you're more likely going to see now by virtue of the feeling in the NFL, these guys being more ready than ever to produce right away. So I think that's part of that, Jay. We thank you for the call. All right, quick break. We'll return. Final segment till the top of the hour. Then I'm going to give you some Anything Goes. You guys have anything in mind on Anything Goes? I'm going to give you my one more time. Number 21 overall, if they select their Colts pick, coming up, and an Anything Goes at the top of the hour, and I'll read you the guidelines as far as Anything Goes is concerned. Well, that's basically it. Anything goes, right? 239-1070, you call in, and you do whatever you want to. That's at the top of the hour. Live from the dugout with Coors Light, 93.5, 107.5, and 1070 The Fan.
The savings are in full bloom on every new and pre-owned vehicle at Hubler. Spring into something new at all Hubler locations. Visit drivehubler.com.
Kids, tell your parents about Forum Credit Union's Sprout of the Month contest, where you could win $100 in a Sprout account. Details at 1075thefan.com.
NFL Draft Week is here, and PropSwap has all the draft props you could want. Download the PropSwap app today to see all the buying and selling props with the best odds in the country.
My daughter's making college plans, and she's got a long wish list for her future. We toured IUPUI, and we're impressed. With the campus located in downtown Indianapolis, she'll have access to real-world opportunities that will put her education to work. And with professors ranked in the top 50 nationwide for exceptional undergraduate teaching, she'll have the guidance she needs to make her future goals a reality. Want to know more? Go to iupui.edu.
Denny Smith for my friends at Sundown Gardens. Spring has sprung and it's go time. Stop and find the tree that's right for your yard this year. Many gorgeous oaks, maples, and evergreens are now in stock. Ornamental trees like Japanese maples, hydrangea trees, and weeping redbuds are available too. The shrub lot is full of blooming and evergreen shrubs. Need privacy? See Sundown's large selection of arborvitae, a great solution for screening. Don't forget bagged or bulk mulch for your garden beds. Sundown Gardens, 186th Street and Spring Mill Road. SundownGardens.com.
Amazon is hiring near you, looking for team members who know that their work is important and that every package matters. Find a job that fits your life with competitive wages, reliable hours, and benefits. Let's work together. From boxing it up to sending it on its way, every step offers a different role and schedule. So are you ready to work together in your community? Visit Amazon.com/apply to see what's available. That's Amazon.com/apply. Amazon is an equal opportunity employer.
This is Dan Dockage. Every kid should have a bike, but the sad fact is too many Indy kids don't because their family can't afford one. Hey, Lee and I have partnered with the Indiana Sports Corp to change that, and you can help by donating to Dockage Cycles for the City. We're buying discounted bikes thanks to Dick's Sporting Goods and delivering to local kids in need, giving boys and girls the fun and freedom that comes with having their own two wheels. It's awesome. Join us. Donate at indianasportscorp.org/Dockage Cycles. Every kid should have a bike.
T-Mobile is bringing 5G from big cities to small towns across America. We've been investing billions to light up the largest and fastest 5G network. And now, according to competitive data from Umlaut, T-Mobile is the most reliable 5G network, too. To celebrate, we're inviting everyone to upgrade their experience. Introducing the free 5G upgrade. Bring any working cell phone to T-Mobile and trade it in for a free 5G Samsung Galaxy. Still have a flip phone? If it can make a call, you can trade it in. Plus, all our plans include 5G access on the full T-Mobile network at no extra cost. Let's go. Now that's an upgrade. T-Mobile is America's leader in 5G. Experience it today with the free 5G upgrade. Visit a neighborhood store or T-Mobile.com to learn more.
Phone via 24 bill credits while supplies last plus tax. If you cancel credit, stop and balance on required finance agreement may be due. Contact us. Qualifying credit, service, and undamaged trade-in required. Most reliable according to independent third-party Umlaut from crowdsourced user experience data from September 2020 to February 2021. Details at T-Mobile.com.
This ad for Hellsberg Diamonds has been specifically written for those who'd rather think about baseball than engagement rings. It's the ninth inning and your pitcher's getting tired, so you look to the bullpen for a reliever. Now, if your bullpen was anything like Hellsberg Diamonds, you'd have an amazing selection to choose from All-Star Natural Diamonds to the new Hot Shot Lab-Grown Diamonds. Whichever one you choose, you can be sure that your engagement ring will bring home a win. Visit your local Hellsberg store and ask about our price match guarantee, or check us out at Hellsberg.com.
Nobody cares for you like family. Family Heating and Air.
This is Malia with Family Heating and Air, and just wanted to say our techs are the best trained in the business. We've got our own training facility in our office that we built out, the furnaces, ACs, heat pumps, air handlers out there, and we've also got virtual reality training set up for them so they can do that weekly, constantly working on making sure we give you the best service with our best techs.
317-577-8077. Family Heating and Air Conditioning is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
The Seller's Market. I'm Patrick Keller with Crest Point Real Estate. Get your free home value estimate from me in 60 seconds at sellwithpatrick.com.
The NTT IndyCar Series races at Texas. Saturday night at 7 on WIBC and Sunday at 4:30 on The Fan. The Ride with JMV.
This will be the high point of my day. It's all downhill from here.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Hey, welcome back. We're live in the dugout. We're on Fletcher Place. Actually, College in Virginia is our location right now. Cam's the engineer. We'll close this portion out and then hit top of the hour and go with a little anything goes right here. Pacers coming up 6:30. Your coverage begins on the pregame show, and I'll roll anything goes around 6:20 or somewhere in that neighborhood. Now remember, the draft 7 p underway downstairs. 93 WIBC. I'll have it, and we'll join the draft right here in progress at some point after the Pacer postgame show. Now, outside of the draft news and the Colts stuff we've been talking about today, this kind of broke right before I went on, and Adam Schefter had tweeted out that reigning MVP Aaron Rodgers so disgruntled, and this is obviously calculated, right, with the Green Bay Packers, that he had told some within the organization he does not want to return to the team, and that has been an ongoing discussion at many points throughout the course of the afternoon, leading a lot of people to suggest that maybe Green Bay does something. I highly doubt it. But again, we shall see. And you watch, Green Bay is going to end up drafting a wide receiver at the end of round number 1 coming up later on tonight. But that was the news, the wrinkle that was kind of thrown into stuff a little bit earlier today regarding that. Now, regarding your thoughts on the Colts draft tonight, and again, I kind of go strictly by what I think they'll do at 21. And, yeah, is it a guess? It absolutely is, because at 21, who the hell knows? And we've got a lot of you that are chiming in on this as well as far as what the Colts are going to end up doing, what they need. Wesley writes this, JMV, everyone talks about Ballard's traits. He likes edge rushers, but at this point, why would you believe that theory merits any value? He's a great general manager, but has whiffed on every edge guy he has drafted. And we've talked about that. I mean, as far as edge rushers and wide receivers, and Michael Pittman Jr. notwithstanding. But, yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of evidence that has been that trustworthy to this point. I do agree with you on that. I do. That's why when I was asked a little bit earlier about, so you think they'll draft a wide receiver at 21? And no, I don't. But I just told you, if you have one of those three, and in this case it would be a guy like Dante Smith, if he slides down to 21, I think they would do that. You know, defensive end-wise, if Kwity Paye slides to 21, I think they will do that. You know, they might do that with a tackle. If it's Vera Tucker or Darashaw, they might do that. See, this is all dependent upon, you know, what happens in front of them. Like in the first 10 picks, do you get all offensive players? And does that give maybe them a little bit better of a run at maybe getting a sliding defensive end? And again, I think Kwity Paye to me is the only guy that would slide, that would keep them from trading back from 21. But we'll see. I mean, maybe it just depends on what happens in front of them. But I would agree with you on the assessment of wide receiver. I would add wide receiver to your assessment on the defensive end that you just gave me, too. I do agree with that. JMV, I know the NFL draft starts today, but I'm here for more windmilling updates on Eugenio Suarez. 0-4 yesterday, 1 punch-out. He needs to get back to his near 50% whiffage rate. By the way, I'm apathetic about tonight's game with the Pacers. I have been for a while, too. They should just play Aaron Holiday 40 minutes to ensure a loss. Yaney, man. Classic. I don't know. I mean, you look at the injury situation with the Pacers, and when they play a average to good to better team, then they have no chance. You saw that against Portland the other night. Now, granted, I mean, Portland went to Memphis and put up another 130-point game, but you just saw how much of a chance they had the other night with Anthony Simons, of all people, going crazy. Joel writes this: the only thing happening at 21 tonight is the amount of chicken wings I eat during the draft. Probably right. I mean, they probably do trade back. That probably ends up being the case. But we shall see. I just think wide receiver-wise, if you're asking about that, I mean, you got those top three, but I think anybody after that, it's not going to happen at 21 for them. And we'll see what happens if a guy like Kwity Paye is available at 21. It's just kind of a tough spot to be in right now, but it's something that we'll have to monitor to see how the draft looks in the first 10 especially. And if that first 10 ultimately ends up being all offensive players, for example, as some have suggested that it very well could be. And that very well might be the case. If it's all offensive players, then obviously bets are off. Azeez Ojulari at 21, if you guys are asking who I think they'll take. And if there's not a Kwity Paye availability, I'm going to go Ojulari at 21, which is nothing more than a dart at a dartboard. And I'll be completely honest with you. This seems like they're in that no man's territory where a lot of people around here suggest they're going to end up trading back. That's probably going to end up being accurate. It will. Hey, by the way, shout out to St. Elmo and Tyler for bringing over the St. Elmo stuff and the guys listening at St. Elmo right now. We really do appreciate that. Cola cocktail and more that they brought over. Thank Tyler and everybody over there very much for doing that. And obviously Nick Baxter that owns the dugout here, friends with the folks over at St. Elmo, and they brought that by. We appreciate that. All right, you have draft coverage coming your way at 7 o'clock tonight, but not right here. That's on 93 WIBC. And then after the Pacer game and after the post-game show, we will join here that coverage in progress for you. You got Matt Taylor, you got Joe Reich, you got Rick Venturi, you got Jeff Diamond. Coming at you beginning at 7, a pick-by-pick evaluation, thoughts, opinions, and then, of course, what the Colts end up doing at 21 coming up later on tonight. All right, quick break, and we shall return. Here are the rules. They're not very many. Here's what happens. Anything goes. You call in, say what you want. If it wants a draft question, fine. If you want a draft shout-out, fine. If you want to go a different direction, fantastic. It's anything goes with you at 239-1070. Now, whether Kyle's going to be back in studio or we're going to have Ryan, Kyle's back in studio, so we're going to have Kyle with anything goes. You call in at 239-1070. You don't get, as you normally would, checked in. We just put you immediately on hold, and you say whatever you want. It is anything goes. All right, Kyle, if you're back in studio right now, how much time we have on the clock?
We'll have about 20 or so minutes.
Holy crap, that's a long time for that. Anything goes with about 20 minutes as we do it live on location with Coors Light. We do it live from the dugout on, actually in Fletcher Place and on Virginia and College. Well, anything goes coming up on the other side at 239-1070. 93.5, 107.5, and 1070 The Fan.
Sports with Dan Dakich.
Dane Brugler, senior NFL draft analyst for The Athletic.
The golden rule of scouting is traits over production. College football is so uneven from conference to conference that teams are focusing on the talent. They're focusing on the traits. And that's ultimately what you're drafting, because the traits will translate from college to the NFL. The production doesn't always. Traits over production, that is the mantra that a lot of teams will go by.
Dan Dakich, weekdays noon to 3 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
BetMGM welcomes you to Showtime with a risk-free first bet up to $600. Simply sign up and use bonus code MGM600 and you're on your way to betting with the king of sportsbooks. Plus, with BetMGM's new one-game parlay feature, you can choose from hundreds of bet types and combinations within a single game to build a perfect parlay. All the action on all your favorite sports will be at your fingertips when you download the app or go to BetMGM.com and use bonus code MGM600 to make your first bet risk-free up to $600. Bet with confidence and turn game day into payday at BetMGM. New customer offer, paid and free bets. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. Must be 21 years or older to wager. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Now is the time to cheer on your Indiana Pacers live inside Bankers Life Fieldhouse.
They give it to Sabonis. Score and a foul! Domantas Sabonis!
Single-game Pacer tickets are now on sale, and a safe fan experience is our top priority.
On the break, McConnell to McDermott, in on the left side with a two-hand slam.
The Pacers clash with one of the top teams in the East, the Brooklyn Nets. Get your tickets at Pacers.com. Oh, baby! Pacers Nets, Thursday at 7.
Hi, I'm Ryan Kelly. Our driving force at the Home Loan Expert has never been about the profits. It's much more than that. We look at growth as an opportunity to raise more dollars and awareness for incredible causes that help make the world a better place. Today, we are humbled to share with you our gift, the Keep Climbing Foundation. Learn more today and get involved at keepclimbingfoundation.org.
The Home Loan Expert LLC, NMLS number 1326241.
And now, a telemedicine appointment without AT&T Business Fiber.
I don't know. Hey, Doc, so, what's the prognosis?
Well, based on your chart, it looks like you have...
Wait, what was that?
Sorry, I was just saying...
Doc, you're glitching. Must be slow upload speeds.
Yeah, sorry. I just wish I'd known the difference between upload and download speeds before I got my business internet. Anyway, I'm sorry, what were we talking about?
My leg.
Oh, right. It's fine, except for a small...
Wait, except for what?
Terrible.
Is your small business suffering from slow upload speeds? Upgrade your business to AT&T Business Fiber for superior reliability and speed at our lowest price ever. There's no annual term commitment and no bundle required. Limited availability in select areas. Visit att.com/businessfast or call 844-661-FAST now.
Pat Sullivan here from Sullivan Hardware and Garden and Allisonville Home and Garden by Sullivan. Our stores are blooming with flowers, hanging baskets, bedding plants, perennials, annual containers, shrubs, trees, and much more. With so many colors and varieties, it's the best looking selection you'll find anywhere. Come see the difference. Why, you ask? Our plants are from top quality Midwest growers, many right here in Indianapolis. Check the specials on all of our patio furniture like all-weather wicker, Berlin Gardens poly, cast aluminum, teak, and more. You'll even get to choose your own custom cushions. We specialize in good quality, mid-priced patio furniture that's in stock in our 37,000 square foot warehouse, all priced at 30% off. See our large selection of grills, Weber, Traeger, and the Big Green Egg. Sullivan Hardware and Garden, 71st and Keystone, 49th and Penn, Cicero, and Allisonville Home and Garden by Sullivan.
We buy any car. We buy any car. We buy any car. Any.
Trading in or selling your car, truck, or SUV? WeBuyAnyCar.com takes the hassle out of selling in just 3 easy steps. 1. Get your free online valuation. 2. Drive to your local car buying center. And 3. Walk out with your check in as little as 30 minutes. So don't wait. Get your free online valuation now at WeBuyAnyCar.com.
Find out how much your car's worth at WeBuyAnyCar.com.
PropSwap is America's exclusive #1 app to buy and sell sports bets. Kevin Bowen here. PropSwap is a huge advantage that I use to find the best odds in the country. Download the free PropSwap app today.
93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
WFNI, WIBC, HD2, W298BB, WIBC, HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis.
Coming up Friday morning on the Fan Morning Show with Chuck, Big Joe, and KB. Everything you need to know about the Colts' first-round decisions. 7 a.m. sharp. Only on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
The Ride with JMV.
This will be the high point of my day. It's all downhill from here.
93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
Oh, look at this. A little change of pace on the re-entry for Anything Goes. Little GNR from Appetite for Destruction right there. Hey, we're live in the dugout, Fletcher Place College in Virginia. Thank you for joining us. Thank you to Coors Light as well. And you got Pacers Nets action coming up bottom of the hour with the pregame show. You got the draft on 93 WIBC. Before we jump into our Anything Goes calls at 239-1070, Ojulari is the direction I am going, the edge rusher out of Georgia. And, again, this is a guess. I don't even know how even educated a guess that it is, but it's a guess. Kyle, what do you have at 21?
If Kwity Paye is there, I'm going Kwity Paye. If Darisaw, the left tackle, is there, I'm going to pick him. But if both of those guys are gone, I'm going to join you with Ojulari.
All right, I've been sticking with Ojulari because I don't think the guys that you mentioned are going to be there. So that is our guess at 21 tonight, and you can find out what happens for real with Matt Taylor, Rick Venturi, Joe Wright, and Jeff Diamond coming up tonight. Beginning at 7 o'clock, it's over on 93 WIBC. 239-1070 is the number. It is Anything Goes. Line 1, you are on the air. Hello, who's this?
Hey, JMV, it's Daryl. How you doing, buddy?
Daryl, give me some wild-ass scenario you have for Aaron Rodgers being in the Motor City.
From my buddy out of Detroit, they're trying to work a trade where Jared Goff and a first, a third, and a fifth-round pick for Aaron Rodgers.
So, do you believe your buddy in Detroit, or is this just some made-up stuff, Daryl? What do you think?
Well, he was right. Remember I told you that Stafford wasn't going to be back in Detroit before that news broke, and that's where it came from. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but he said they're trying to work it out.
All right. That's a big – I don't think anything happens, Daryl, with Rodgers tonight. But what else you got, buddy?
That's it. I'm glad the draft's happening. No more mock drafts, and we're ready for a little JMV takeover on Saturday night to listen to good music.
You got that ready. Thank you, Daryl. I appreciate that. Hey, by the way, too, this is true. Absolutely true. I'll get back to your Anything Goes calls in just a second. But I was thinking about doing something extra special on Carb Day, right? And this may morph into something on that Saturday. I was thinking about maybe pulling an all-nighter. Sean Copeland, who runs B1057, goes, man, don't kill yourself on that. And I'm thinking, maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll go something that goes from 6 until I meet up with Tony Katz. And I'm like, nobody's told me yet, but I'm assuming we're going to do some kind of pre-race show in front of the 500. That is the thought right there. That'd be a little all-nighter. That may wear me out. But then again, we shall see. It might be fun. And I know that hadn't been done in forever. I mean, let's face it, man. Around here, nobody's live anyway. Like a handful of dudes are ever live the way that it goes. So why not me all night? Anything goes at 239-1070. I think that'd be fun. Line 3, you are on the air. Who's this?
Hey, this
Hello.
is JMC. Hello, JMC.
Hello.
Hello. Can you hear
Go
me?
ahead. Yeah, I got you. Go ahead.
Okay, cool. Hey, I just want to say big time IU basketball fan, and I'm totally psyched about Mike Woodson. Can't wait for next season.
Totally psyched about Mike Woodson. I'm going to tell you what. A lot of people suggest, hey, great, you win the offseason, whatever. It has been so long since they've won anything. They needed to win this offseason. I'm glad they've won this offseason. Honestly, that's a good thing.
Yes, indeed. And we're back to being fans of basketball for IU again.
There you go. Thank you for the call, Jim. I appreciate it. Seriously. Everybody says, oh, man, you won the offseason. Why don't you put up a banner? You know what? When you've had little to no news that is good in 4 stinking years, embrace any win, off-season or otherwise. Embrace it. You got plenty of time to see what happens when the product is actually on the floor. But if you can win the offseason the way this thing has gone in the past 4, embrace it. That's what I say. Yeah, nobody's going to put up a banner. I know everybody jokes about banners and all that crap. But nah, embrace the offseason win because IU fans need it. Line 4 is Anything Goes at 239-1070. You're on the air. Who's this?
Hey, Ryan here. How are you, JMB?
Ryan, I'm great. Go ahead, brother.
I'm not certain how widespread the issue is, but I'm pretty sure about a quarter of Center Grove residential is blacked out right now due to a power outage, and it is complete chaos right now with traffic on 135.
Is it really? All right.
It's pretty bad.
Now, hang on here for a moment, too, because I got to leave the dugout here, and I got to go over to Center Grove High School to get a bunch of girls who are going through an hour-long practice. I think they're doing something. Is Center Grove High School affected by this?
I have no idea, but from County Line all the way up to Fairview, all the lights were out. It was bumper to bumper, and I couldn't pick up my eyes. They're closed down. So.
Well, how the hell am I going to get down there then?
I don't know, but my wife just said Duke Energy. Originally said 6:15 for it to be back on, but she just called me and is in a panic because now apparently it's 2 in the morning and we don't know what to do with our food.
Oh, no, really? 2 in the morning? Seriously?
Allegedly. Who knows? We'll wait and see.
Hey, let me tell you this. I'm glad you called, too, and I don't know if you were a part of this, but my power went out at about 3 in the morning 2 nights ago and came back on at about 5:15 in the morning. Were you a part of that outage?
If I was asleep, so I have to say no.
Well, see, and I'm not you're saying that's Duke Energy. I'm Johnson County REMC. So that's at my house. That's what we had, and that was the power outage 2 nights ago. But it was off for a good hour and a half or so in the middle of the night. So
fingers crossed,
anyway.
man. Good luck.
Hey, thanks for the update. I got to get down. I guess I take Morgantown anyway, but I guess I'll be for sure going Morgantown right now. I don't know, man. Hey, thank you for the update. I appreciate that. This is what Anything Goes is all about. If you got a power outage, report it to us at 239-1070. Seriously, did he say that was from County Line to Fairview on 135? Coach Webster, Andy Webster of the Hot Shots, he says they had power at his house, and it looks like that CG has power. And we got to go over to the Duke barn later on. I'm assuming they always have power over there, so I'm assuming we're all good. I'm just not good. I wouldn't come down 135 anyway. I was going to come down Morgantown. So that means there's going to be an ass load of people on Morgantown. I have to be behind now, too. What do you think over here, Cam? How should I approach this? Should I just bust down 65 and go over, or down Morgantown? What do you think? Come on, Cam. Give me a helper. Morgantown. Good call. Hey, line 5 is Anything Goes at 239-1070. You're on the air. Who's this?
James. How we doing, JMV?
James, great to hear from you. Go ahead.
Hey, anything goes on this. I would love for my Cowboys to just stick Dak in a trade and bring on Rodgers right on over to the Big D.
Why wouldn't you do it? I want you to just throw the kitchen sink at him right now, right?
Hey, Jerry would do it.
Yeah, why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't you? I mean, that would make every Cowboy fan here and in history incredibly happy. Why would you not throw the kitchen sink?
I mean, and whatever asset else you can give at him. I mean, the guy wants to be a book-smart Jeopardy host, right? All right, well, see what you can do. And
this is private jet him. Private jet him on his off day, right? Go over there, tape 3 episodes, come back. Yeah, sounds easy.
It sounds fantastic, actually.
Hey, man. All right, hey, man, I appreciate you very much. So, yeah, and that's if Aaron Rodgers is the host of Jeopardy. But as Kyle told us a little bit earlier, they tape Jeopardy 3 episodes a day and then 2 on another, right? So 2 days?
Yep, 2 days a week.
2 days a week. And there's no certainty that he's going to get that gig either, right?
Oh, there's everyone under the sun. I mean, Anderson Cooper wants, Joe Buck wants that job. It's got to be one of the best jobs in all of television, right?
Would you rather have that job as a game show host, or you got to be pretty smart to do that, right? I mean,
well, he's not coming up with the questions. I mean, they have a whole research team. He just got to read them quick and
right. But I mean,
know
you
how
still
to
got
say
to be
tough
smart.
words.
Pretty good about that, though. I mean, they're still like. I mean, the game show has kind of disappeared anyway. How many of them are there left? Wheel of Fortune, Jeopardy, The Price is Right. Am I missing anything? There are only like 3 left.
Let's Make a Deal is on in the mornings right before Price
Let's
is Right.
Make a Deal is still on. So 4. The landscape used to be dotted back before your time, Kyle, with nothing but game shows. And I mean quality, sitting on the set, smoking cigarettes and drinking and fun and ridiculous references. I mean, it used to be great. I mean, even from Sale of the Century, Card Sharks, Blockbusters, Body Language, Tattletales. And now, the original Hollywood Squares. Exactly. The original with Paul Lynde. The Paul Lynde in the center square, that was greatness right there.
Press Your Luck was a big one.
Press Your Luck was great. This all kind of disappeared now. I like Classic Concentration with Alex Trebek was the host back in the late 80s. But they've all kind of disappeared. All right, anything goes, 239-1070. Line 1, you're on the air. Who's this?
Hey, this is Joseph. How you doing?
Joseph, good to hear from you. Go ahead.
Okay, I was involved in a discussion the other day, and I'm wondering what your thoughts are on it.
Okay.
It's hypothetical, obviously, but this year's Colts schedule is obviously – it seems to be more difficult than last year's. We can only go off last year's, wins and losses and expectations. But last year's 11-5, considering what the schedule is, what do you think would be equivalent this year? In other words,
I would think that everybody would be happy with a 10-win team this year.
Don't you? The equivalent. I would be happy with a 10-win team, I have to admit, but I would think more like a 9-win would be equivalent to what was put up last year, considering the competition.
I would agree. I would agree with that. I would agree. And I've said this all along. I think it's going to be difficult for them to live up to the bar that they even set a year ago. And the reason why we say that is because, they're really just running everything back like a year ago, other than the quarterback positional change because they had to, because Phillip Rivers decided to retire. But they're really just running everything back. So I agree with you. Yeah, the equivalent is around 9. I think people would be happy with 10.
And we will see what happens tonight. But just a quick other thought on that was everybody's talking about Rivers' numbers being good last year, and there's no argument there. He exceeded expectations by most people. But if Wentz puts up equivalent numbers, considering the schedule, that they may not be anywhere near an 11-win team. That's all I have to say on it, though. But thank you for the time, and I hope you have a blessed day.
Thank you very much. Well, the thing of it is, and I said this, even in an 11-win season, and you lose to Buffalo in that first playoff game, the numbers that Rivers put up were impressive. The problem that I had with him is that you're hard-pressed to believe that he was going to be able to, in a final drive, with the arm strength or lack thereof, take you down the field, be able to spread it around the field. It was so easy during those circumstances for other teams to be able to take away a large portion of the field because of the lack of arm strength. Listen, his accuracy, nobody's going to deny that. And he put up great numbers. He really did. But you're hoping that Wentz and the arm strength and just the rejuvenation of being out of Philadelphia is going to add a great deal coming up here. But, you're running back essentially the same team, and you got to, at least on paper, eyeballing at a schedule that looks more difficult. I would agree with that call. Line 2's anything goes at 239-1070. Who's this?
This is Tom in Clayton. Hey, I got a trade that'll solve your wide receiver concerns.
I'm ready.
We swap first-round picks with Green Bay, and we get the guy we should have had instead of Reese Fountain. We get Alan Lazard.
So, do you think that Green Bay's trading wide receivers?
No, they're going to trade. They're going to trade up to 21. We get their pick, and they also give us Alan Lazard, and we're on move.
Why would they trade up to 21?
To get a bet. I don't even know if they have a pick, but I'm assuming they got a pick. So.
they do.
They need somebody. They got to need somebody.
No, they do
trade.
And you like Alan Lazard, is what you're saying, right? That's who you like.
We should have. I could have shot, but not shot somebody. But I could have hit somebody over the head when we did not. When we picked the kid from UNI, and we did not pick Alan Lazard. And
don't you think?
To be a winner.
Don't you think though that this news today has virtually guaranteed that Green Bay is going to select a wide receiver in round 1 tonight? It's guaranteed it.
I don't know. Who knows who's going to do what? All you can predict is that someone's going to draft somebody. That's about as accurate as I can get on that.
All right. Hey, thank you very much for the call. Kyle, do you agree with me that the news today is virtually guaranteed Green Bay is going to select a wide receiver in round 1?
Well, unless they trade for number 3 in the draft and they trade Rodgers.
No, we're not going to be that. We're not that drunk. Are we?
It
Believe
could happen.
that? Come on.
But, yeah, I'd be surprised if they didn't take a wide receiver.
So what are you talking about here? Don't they Bateman, Rashad Bateman of Minnesota?
Elijah Moore, one of those guys.
Yeah. Terrence Marshall, somewhere in that neighborhood. All right, line 3's anything goes at 239-1070. You're on the air. Who's this?
Hey, it's Adam.
Hello, Adam. Go ahead.
Question.
Yeah.
What do we got to do to get Corey and Schultz to take over your morning show?
Man, why you ask me that? I know it's anything goes, but you really want to put me in the worst position
every morning,
ever?
and I got to listen to Big Joe talk about food and all kinds of stuff that I don't care about.
Adam, man. I love
local radio. I want quality.
I love Jake and Derek and I are friends too, but those guys in the morning are my dudes too. You put me in a bad spot. Why don't we just why don't we just add them from like 10 until noon or something like that? Because listen, you know what I am? I'm a big believer in local programming like you. So why don't we just have full scale local programming, right?
That'd be great. Why don't we do that? And give Kevin Bowen his own show.
Why not?
Great. Let's do it.
Why not? So I just think what you're trying to say, and I'm trying to put myself in the best position imaginable here, is what you're trying to say is that you want more local programming, right?
I want all local programming.
My brother, you got that.
All day,
all you had
all
to
night.
say. All day and all night, just like back in the day. Thank you, Adam. I appreciate that call. Yeah, me too. Hey, listen, I know this. I know that you guys, local folks, want local programming. You do. I mean, some of you may dislike me out there. Oh, you do this and you do that. But at the end of the day, man, I'm here to serve you. I'm talking about what you want to hear about. That's what we do. And that's what local programming does. And really, nothing has solidified that more than me on Saturday night being live in studio for 6 hours, playing, on average, 35-year-old songs by request and having you guys love that. You want to know why you love it? Is because I'm live and I'm local and I'm actually in studio. And I don't tape that crap on Wednesday. And I'm not half-assing it. We're giving you what you want. And really the first thing that you want outside of it being local and interesting you is effort. That's what we give you. Line 4 is at 239-1070. Anything goes. Who's this?
Hey, Blackhawk.
What's happening, man?
Well, I just loved your game show reference when you said something about Paul Lynn. I love Paul Lynn.
He was awesome.
He was awesome. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
There's always a sexual reference in there somewhere. It was beautiful. And that stuff wouldn't play for 5 minutes today. Not 5 minutes.
No, not at all. He's the only guy. I wish I had a gay friend like that.
I mean, the game show was large part disappeared. I mean, you got Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune and Price is Right, and I guess Let's Make a Deal. But in large part, the game show has absolutely disappeared. Anything else?
No, thank you. Later.
Hey, Kyle, are we at the end of the show here? Sounds like it. Hey, thank you, Nick and the dugout. Thank you, San Elmo and Tyler, for coming out. Coors Light, thank you, everybody, for listening today. We'll have your recap of the draft tomorrow back in studio at 3. Pacer Hoopage, next.
Sports Center updates on the Fan are brought to you by Big O Tires. Spring savings are here. Buy 3, get 1 free on select sets of Aspen, Mesa, and Nito tires now through May 2nd. Big O Tires, the team you trust.
Luke Bryan, proud to be right here tour. Friday night, August 20th, Ruoff Music Center. ACM's Entertainer of the Year, Luke Bryan live. With special guests, Dylan Scott, Runaway June, and DJ Rock. Pre-sale for City Card members now through Thursday at 10 p.m. Before the general public on sale Friday at 10 a.m. Get tickets at LiveNation.com.
Denny Smith for my friends at Sundown Gardens. Spring has sprung and it's go time. Stop and find the tree that's right for your yard this year. Many gorgeous oaks, maples, and evergreens are now in stock. Ornamental trees like Japanese maples, hydrangea trees, and weeping redbuds are available too. The shrub lot is full of blooming and evergreen shrubs. Need privacy? See Sundown's large selection of arborvitae, a great solution for screening. Don't forget bagged or bulk mulch for your garden beds. Sundown Gardens, 186th Street and Spring Mill Road. SundownGardens.com.
And now, a telemedicine appointment without AT&T Business Fiber.
I don't know. Hey, Doc, so, what's the prognosis?
Well, based on your chart, it looks like you have...
Wait, what was that?
Sorry, I was just saying...
Doc, you're glitching. Must be slow upload speeds.
Yeah, sorry. I just wish I'd known the difference between upload and download speeds before I got my business internet. Anyway, I'm sorry, what were we talking about?
My leg.
Oh, right. It's fine, except for a small...
Wait, except for what?
Terrible.
Is your small business suffering from slow upload speeds? Upgrade your business to AT&T Business Fiber for superior reliability and speed at our lowest price ever. There's no annual term commitment and no bundle required. Limited availability in select areas. Visit att.com/businessfast or call 844-661-FAST now.
Pat Sullivan here from Sullivan Hardware and Garden and Allisonville Home and Garden by Sullivan. Our stores are blooming with flowers, hanging baskets, bedding plants, perennials, annual containers, shrubs, trees, and much more. With so many colors and varieties, it's the best looking selection you'll find anywhere. Come see the difference. Why, you ask? Our plants are from top quality Midwest growers, many right here in Indianapolis. Check the specials on all of our patio furniture like all-weather wicker, Berlin Gardens poly, cast aluminum, teak, and more. You'll even get to choose your own custom cushions. We specialize in good quality, mid-priced patio furniture that's in stock in our 37,000 square foot warehouse, all priced at 30% off. See our large selection of grills, Weber, Traeger, and the Big Green Egg. Sullivan Hardware and Garden, 71st and Keystone, 49th and Penn, Cicero, and Allisonville Home and Garden by Sullivan.
Amazon is hiring near you, looking for team members who know that their work is important and that every package matters. Find a job that fits your life with competitive wages, reliable hours, and benefits. Let's work together, from boxing it up to sending it on its way. Every step offers a different role and schedule. So, are you ready to work together in your community? Visit Amazon.com/apply to see what's available. That's Amazon.com/apply. Amazon is an equal opportunity employer.
My name is Bill McQueen, and I own Perry Acoustics, a construction company here in the great state of Indiana. Each year, some construction companies misclassify their employees as independent contractors and illegally pay them cash under the table. That puts companies like mine that pay a good living wage and employee benefits at a major competitive disadvantage. These companies rob our state of over $400 million a year. Imagine what could be done for Hoosiers with that money.
Visit indianacip.com/tax fraud to learn how together we can tell them to stop stealing from Hoosiers.
We buy any car. We buy any car. We buy any car. Any.
Did you know trading in your car at a dealer could cost you money? A recent study found consumers who trade in their car pay an average of $990 more. So don't trade in. Sell it to We Buy Any Car. Learn more and get your free online valuation now at WeBuyAnyCar.com.
Find out how much your car's worth at WeBuyAnyCar.com.
Android users, BetRivers Sportsbook is ready for download in the Google Play Store. Just search for BetRivers and download the app. It's never been easier to get in the game. You'll enjoy the ease of use and critical speed of the new BetRivers Android app. Bet with a winner. Download the BetRivers Android app in the Google Play Store today. Must be 21 or over to